It is the longest-running street race in North America. Names like Villeneuve, Spinard, Embry-Ham, and Carpentier have all left their mark here on the streets of Trois-Rivieres, Quebec. Today, NASCAR Canada kicks off the second half of the 2025 season with 60 laps of action here at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres. Hello and welcome. I'm Dave Bradley. Joined with me in the booth is 2023 Series champion Trayton Lapcevich. And Trayton, you've been here before. You've had some pretty good results, too.
Sure did, Dave. 3 top 10s, and actually my first road course ever was on the streets of Trois-Rivieres here. So if you're a Canadian race fan, you know the significance behind this race. And if you're a Quebecer and race here, well, it's on a whole new level. The pride, it's an honor and privilege to race on the streets as those legends that you mentioned.
Well, you talked about the fans, and more importantly, the Quebec race fans always flock here in droves. They pack the grandstands, and they got here even maybe a little bit early to take in this event. They had the opportunity to mingle with some of their favorite drivers during an autograph session a little while ago, and our very own Todd Lewis had an opportunity to mingle with those crowds and talk to the top 5 drivers in today's starting lineup.
Just as he has done the last 2 years, Marc-Antoine Cameron put his number 96 car on pole for today's Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres. But yesterday, though, it was a blistering lap. Everything hit just right. Super fast lap yesterday, Mark, to score the pole position here for GP3R. Have you got 59 more good ones in you?
Yeah, well, it's going to be hot and a long race. We're happy to do the pole yesterday, but today it's kind of another ball game. We have to be patient. Of course, if we want to stay up front, but we have to stay intelligent also and keep the car clean and be there at the end.
Feeling any pressure to do 3 in a row?
Well, it's always a pressure racing at Trois-Rivieres in front of the sponsor and friends, but I think it's a good way.
Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, Marc-Antoine Cameron. Alongside on the front row, the 27 car of Andrew Ranger, who also has a special paint scheme for this one. Andrew, your first 10 years at GP3R, boy, you had an incredible record. It's been a bit of a struggle the last couple, though.
I know. It's been great. The first few races there that we did in the beginning, we won here 4 times. So we try hard to put that 27 back in the top of the box. But I think we have definitely a good car. You know, it's in practice with fast and qualified too. So it's a hot day today. It's a big race for us. I will try my best to win a 5th time here.
Appreciate the umbrella.
Thank you. Yes.
All right, Andrew Ranger will be on the outside of row number 1. We'll squeeze through the giant crowd here that surrounded Alex Tagliani, who is also a frequent winner here at GP3R. Alex, super fast yesterday to put you on the inside of row number 2. Good car for you.
Yeah, it was not bad. I think it's going to be a tough race. We have pace. We're weak in some places, strong in some other places. So obviously this is always a race of attrition. So if we're there at the end, I think we have a chance.
Thanks, Alex.
Thanks.
All right, Alex Tagliani going for another victory. Another winner here at GP3R previously, twice before. His hometown race, the 47 WeatherTech car of LP Dumoulin. How important is it for you to have another good race here today? You always circle this one on your calendar, so important for you.
Yeah, GP3R is super important for us. Every year here, our friends, family, fans, sponsors, partners, everybody's here. So that WeatherTech 47, OmniFab, Belmar, some of our cars fast. We did good in quality. P4 is a good position for us. 60 laps. It's a long race. We have to be there at the end. We want to be fighting for the win for the last couple of restarts. And we're in the championship. So it's tight right now. 6 races remaining on 12. So 3 road course, including Trois-Rivieres. And I want to win this thing for my team and my partners, obviously, and the fans. So there's a lot of people here, so it's going to be a good race, good show.
Let you go back to signing autographs. LP Dumoulin, thank you. All right, we'll squeeze through. One more driver we want to talk to scored his first victory in the NASCAR Canada Series here a couple of years ago. It's the 39 of Alex Gannett. Boy, you have shown plenty of speed in the event so far this year. You said yesterday that you've got the speed to win. Do you still feel that way after qualifying, and what are your chances today?
Yeah, I feel really good. I know these guys are really hard to beat here, like I mentioned yesterday, on a 1 lap. Most of them have been racing here before I was born, so getting that last couple of tenths on 1 lap is tough, so I'm very happy with our qualifying effort. I've been telling the guys since the beginning of the week, top 5 in qualifying and P1 in the race is what we're here to do.
Well, part 1 of that has been accomplished. Alex Gannett, along with 28 other drivers, trying to win here at GP3R.
Thanks very much, Todd. And you talk about the crowds, and this is going to be more about the fans getting in line at the concession stands. This is going to be a large crowd of drivers on this very tight circuit. And it could make things difficult today.
It can go bad in a hurry. This is a really tight track for a lot of cars. You will see them fan out into turn 1 right off the start. Guys trying to get as many positions as they can. Get really tight in turn 3 under the gates there. I've tried to go too wide with some people there, and it gets tight really quick. So generally, you're going to want to be single file there, and then obviously all the way through turn 6 there, it gets really tight at the end of the hard braking straightaway there. Turns 8, 9, 10. So a lot of these areas they get tight to run side by side, but when it gets down to it, and we got guys going for the win, we'll see them put their car about anywhere they can.
It's going to be a fun race to watch, and we're going to be following several different stories over the course of the day today. One of the stories we'll be focused on today is a seat swap that is happening between the NASCAR Canada Series and the NASCAR Euro Series. Vittorio Girelli is from Italy, and he'll be driving in this race behind the wheel of the number 50, but Raphael Lessard from Quebec is also in this event behind the wheel of the number 7. They're going to swap seats because Lessard is going to head to Europe later in the year to participate in the NASCAR Euro Series, and earlier we caught up with both drivers.
Program to have you and Raphael Lessard as part of this exchange. What's your experience like? What have you found these NASCAR Canada Series cars to be like?
Yeah, this is really awesome. Big thanks to Euro NASCAR President Jerome Galpin, who partnered up with Martin Donjou, this Chevy number 50, Rousseau Metals, and Festi Drag TV. Thanks to them for making this happen. Yeah, this series is really awesome. I mean, and this circuit, man, this is really history. I mean, we didn't have much track time, but I was already up to speed, so we're in the pack. I want to be respectful to these guys who are battling for the points for the championship, but I won't back off. I will go there to make a good result, to thank my sponsors, and for having me here. These cars are quite different from what we have in Europe. More heavy, but I love this, American racing, go for it, banging and, bump and run. We don't have that in Europe. We have to be very, very careful, otherwise we get the penalty. But I'm ready, and fantastic experience so far.
Perfect, thank you.
Whenever you're ready.
Good. Raphael, great to have you back in the NASCAR Canada Series. Cool to be part of this exchange program that'll have you going to race in the Euro NASCAR Series as well.
Yeah, I'm really happy. It's going to be my first time going to Europe, so I'm going to go against the best of the best on road course down there because they're not really used to oval like I am, but I'm really honored to be the Canadian going there to represent Canada, but I'm going to do the best job as possible to represent well Canada.
And that is such a cool initiative, and it's playing out right here at Trois-Rivieres.
It's really cool. As a driver, you're always looking for new experiences and new challenges. So Vittorio is obviously really good in Italy, and Raphael's really good in Canada here too. Two really accomplished drivers. So really cool experience for both of them, and hopefully it's the start of something bigger.
Yeah, those two drivers are a threat to win here today. So they will be drivers we'll be watching over the course of this event. And when we return, we'll take a look at the other drivers we'll be focused on over the course of 60 laps here at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres. You're watching the Countdown to Green on Rev TV. And welcome back. We are moments away from firing the engines here at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres, but one aspect we do have to focus on here today is the fact that this is a mandatory pit stop race. You don't necessarily have to take tires, though.
A few years ago, they actually extended the race to 60 laps, so it brings a whole new strategy to the race. You got to stop for fuel. You just need to splash, though, so we'll see drivers come down early if there's perhaps an early caution. Tires, it's completely up to the team, so it's really going to depend on how the race goes, what the positions are like, when the cautions fall, how many drivers on a lap. It brings a whole new twist to the race.
And that's just one aspect that makes this event so great. Let's head down trackside for the words that every race fan wants to hear.
Lion de Trois-Rivieres.
Pilote, démarrez vos moteurs. Drivers, start your engines.
And the engines come to life here on the front straightaway. 3 members of the Lion de Trois-Rivieres, the professional hockey team here at Trois-Rivieres, Quebec, giving the command to start engines. And you can see the field lined up nicely, stretching out deep on this front straightaway, and a couple of Corvettes will be leading things off. Of course, the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres is powered by Chevrolet, and one of the neat things is one of the cars we'll see at the front is driven by Ron Fellows, who won a Trans Am race here 30 years ago, but that car is dressed up in his 2001 livery when he won Le Mans. So a pretty big honor for a driver of the stature of Ron Fellows.
It's really cool, and Ron's obviously done a lot for Canadian racing, and it's really cool for them to honor him like that, and to see that Corvette leading the field.
And that is one of the things that is done well here at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres is they do honor their history. And you saw the green color of Marc-Antoine Cameron in a different livery for the 27 of Andrew Ranger as well, and that's to honor Gilles Villeneuve, who was discovered while racing here at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres. So the field is set to move on, and we will get things going here with the starting lineup very, very shortly as the field will start to roll. But one thing we should mention is the super tight points battle that we have here in the NASCAR Canada Series coming into today's event. When you look at the drivers on top, it's DJ Kennington after Autodrome Chaudiere, and he took over the points lead because of problems for Marc-Antoine Cameron. For Ranger, Kevin Lacroix managed to get a top 3, but Kennington leads, but only by 3 points over Cameron.
DJ's had a really good year going. He's been really consistent, running up front for pretty much every race so far, and taking advantage of when guys like Cameron have issues. Lacroix, when you think of DJ Kennington, a lot of people might not see him on the road courses. He's been pretty much predominantly really good on the ovals here for a lot of his career. But fun fact about DJ, he actually won here in 2013 at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres. So we'll look for DJ to stay clean all race. DJ's always really good at conserving his equipment and be there at the end just to really maximize the amount of points that he can get.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, in the points race after 6 events, the difference between first and 7th is only 29 points, so it really is still anyone's game when you have an event this large with 29 competitors.
That's a great point as well. When you have a lot of cars, it can be good and it can be bad. If you have a bad day and you end up finishing 20th, 24th, that's tough because that's a lot of points that you're losing, and that's a lot of points to make up when we have the smaller fields later in the year. So great to see a great field of cars. It's going to be a long race. You heard a lot of the drivers touch on it's 60 laps. It's a long show. You got to keep the fenders on the thing until the end.
And also, one of the drivers did mention when speaking with Todd how warm it was. You saw how everybody had an umbrella and they were trying to get some shade, but that will play its toll, and we'll talk about that here at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres, just how warm and the conditions can change. But we'll take a quick break before we go to green here at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres. Sorry about that. Got counted out to break. So we're going to move and we'll talk about this.
Who's the guy on the street?
I don't know. French dude.
Well, he confused me originally because when you were talking about Gilles Villeneuve, I was like, oh, we're about to take it.
Yeah, I thought we were going to get that. The engines are fired. The field is rolling here as you're watching the NASCAR Canada Series live on Rev TV from the Grand Prix of Trois-Rivieres. And this is such a unique circuit as we get our first look at it. But Trayton, take us through. You mentioned some of the good passing zones, and here you get a good bird's eye view of what they look like.
Yeah, there really is a lot of great passing zones, because when you're looking for a passing zone, you're looking for some room, but also for an opportunity to outbrake someone. So turn one's a great opportunity. Obviously, come off turn 11, and it's hard braking in turn 1. You'll try and get that right hand, but the issue here is that you can get stuck on the outside through turn 2, so you got to complete that pass quickly. Turn 6 is another really great zone at the end of the long back straightaway here. You'll look to try and outbrake some guys. And then, obviously turn 9, turn 10, they're a little bit tighter. It's a little bit sketchier to make a pass through those places, but guys will try anything they can.
Let's take a look at the starting lineup, and you heard from the 5 drivers at the front of the field. Marc-Antoine Cameron, brand new track record in qualifying. Andrew Ranger actually broke the track record himself. He'll start in second. Tagliani, Dumoulin, former winners here at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres. They'll try to do it again today. Alex Guinnett has also visited victory lane. Kevin Lacroix had a problem in turn number 2 on lap number 1 last year, getting into it with Andrew Ranger, but he has always shown speed.
Absolutely, Rafael Ozar. We touched on him doing the driver swap. He's had some good speed this weekend here. Alex Labbé as well. You can never count Alex Labbé out. Obviously, a really experienced racer. Done a lot of racing in the Xfinity Series, a lot on road courses this year too. So, really great experience, and we'll look to him to be fast today.
Finished second here last year. There is DJ Kennington, and we talked about him. He's your points leader coming into this one. Rookie Simon Charbonneau, a good starting spot for the driver in the 88. He'll roll off in 10th. Gary Kloot struggled a little bit, but admittedly, he says he hasn't really figured out this track as much as he would like to. And JF Dumoulin still searching for his first win here at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres. He'd love to do it in front of his hometown crowd.
Sam Fellow's always really good on the road courses, and then Vittorio, a lot of great speed. He mentioned these cars are a lot different, so it's tough to get used to for sure, and it's going to be a long 60 laps.
Actually, he had some problems in qualifying. Didn't get the window net quite up, so he didn't get an out lap to bring the tires up to temperature as much as he would like. So he still has some speed left in. Donald Teach will be behind the wheel of the 73 today, and there you see Simon Dion-Vienne and Ryan Vargas in row number 9. Vargas making his very first start here at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres, comes into this one 7th in points. Daryl Timmers back behind the wheel of the 85, brand new sponsor, brand new livery on that car as well, and Alexandre Fortin in the number 3 making his very first start. Martin Goulet Jr. in the 83 starts in row number 11, and then the 84 of Larry Jackson. And then we get to the final few rows here in the starting lineup. Dave Courceau, Dominic Scrivo, and the 01 of JP Bergeron. Kyle Steckley, should say that is the number 1 of JP Bergeron. A little bit of a surprise to see the 22 of Kyle Steckley that far back.
Yeah, I mean, this is a tough track. He's obviously still learning at GP3R. It's these corners are tight. Practice, you don't get a whole lot of track time. You don't get a whole lot of track time in qualifying either, so I'm sure he's going to learn a lot through these 60 laps and work his way up to the front.
Benoit Couture in the 75 will round out the field. You saw Dexter Stacey in the 92 from Kanawaki, Quebec, and he is back behind the wheel of his very own race car that is owned by the Stacey crew. The recap recovery drink back on board with that team as well. So the crews are getting ready as well, and we're hearing early pit stops for fuel will likely be the ticket here. So if we have an early caution, expect a big flood down pit road as drivers and teams start to get their service early.
Yeah, and even without a caution, I think we'll see drivers duck off to pit road pretty early. The fuel is the only thing that's really mandatory here, so they'll try and get that out of the way. But we're going to come around to the green flag here.
So there goes the pace truck rolling down pit lane. The 2 Gilles Villeneuve honorary schemes on the front row. You have the green and red roof of Marc-Antoine Cameron, the black and red. So the black and red is after Gilles Villeneuve's helmet. The green and red after the Ski Rule, the former snowmobile company that Gilles Villeneuve used to race for. Twin green flags as we are set to get things underway. 60 laps of action here in the Rousseau Medal 60 at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres. It really is a land rush start down into turn number 1 as they head towards turn number 2. This is where a major calamity happened just last year. Everybody gets through cleanly this time.
They're single file through turn 3. This is what I mentioned there. It gets tight through the gates. It looks like Kevin Lacroix is able to make it past as it stacks up further back in the field.
Look at how slowly the drivers at the back have to almost stop to get through turn number 3 in the Duplessis gates. And now here comes Tagliani taking a peek on the 27. No contact, but they're weaving back and forth through that bumpy braking zone into turn number 6.
When it gets really bumpy there and you're hard on the brakes, you really got to watch out for some wheel hops. So great opportunity to pass for the 80 of Alex Tagliani. It's not over yet. Andrew Ranger's going to try and get that second spot back.
He took a look on the inside of turn number 7, decided to slot back in line. Now working through turn number 9. They were all single file at the front of the field. Cameron will lead them through turn number 9 and 10 and 11 and onto the front straightaway, and he will lead lap number 1. And with that comes bonus points in the championship race.
It's really important when you're getting the championship standings are getting so tight at the top. Every point counts. So Cameron, he's got that one lap or one bonus point for a leading lap. You get another one for leading the most laps, and then another one for winning. So that's what he's got on his mind, and just trying to maximize the amount of points he can capture today.
So before we went to break, we did talk about the ambient temperature here. Beautiful sunshine. It's great if you're a race fan. It's been a great weekend. But it's tough on these cars. It's tough on these drivers. A lot of them wearing cool suits, as you saw them talk with Todd off the top of the... And that does play a factor in this race.
Absolutely. Mentally, it can be challenging, but the other thing to look out for is brake fade. Brakes is a big thing. You know, we mentioned that they extended this race to 60 laps, which is, you know, that doesn't seem like that much. It's 10 extra laps, but at the same time, as the 80 of Alex Tagliani goes to the lead, but, you know, these guys really have to conserve their brakes. Brakes heat up really fast, and it's going to be something we're going to have to look out for today.
Tagliani in the UPS store. Saint-Hubert, number 80 to top spot across the start-finish line. That'll drop the 2 Paillet-backed entries into second and third. So Marc-Antoine Cameron, Andrew Ranger running in second, third. There is the WeatherTech Dodge of LP Dumoulin lurking in fourth. Kevin Lacroix rounds out your top 5. After a couple of laps here at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres. But that was a pretty aggressive move into turn number 9 for Alex Tagliani this early in the race.
It doesn't look like the 80 of Alex Tagliani might not be saving anything right now, but that's kind of tag style. You know, if he's got a fast car, he's going to want to get out front and try and lead some laps. So, you know, the 80 of Alex Tagliani's fast today. We'll see if he can hold on to it.
Battles at the front of the field. You saw the 39 of Alex Gannett, the BetGRW blue and white car, putting some pressure on the Napa Racing number 74 of Kevin Lacroix. After Kevin got just off the initial start, DJ Kennington, the white-green at number 17, lurking just in behind, but this is still at the front, and it's still not really settled. Cameron might be backing off just a little bit. He's allowing some air between those two cars, and as you mentioned, getting that air to those brake ducts and letting it cool down those front brakes.
Yeah, and kind of just touching on the brakes again, the series actually went to a different style of brakes last year. So, you know, before that, the NASCAR Canada, these big, heavy NASCAR Canada cars, we're just using generic GM piston calipers, which, you know, aren't too strong. The braking power is not that great. The issue is now we have better brakes, but they build heat faster. So the cars stop better, but the brake fades quicker. And at a track like GP3R for 60 laps, that can be difficult.
One of the drivers told me a couple of years ago, too, when it is this hot, there's not really a lot of wind, is there's no air movement in between these concrete walls. We talk about it as a concrete jungle, and it's intimidating to the drivers, but we'll have another look at this change for the lead. And Tagliani just got a great run to the inside of turn number 9. Might have surprised the driver of the 96 a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. That's not really a spot where these drivers probably have spotters either. So, you know, it was a little bit of a jump scare, and I think we're lucky there was no contact there.
Yeah, Marc-Antoine Cameron got a look in the little side mirror. You see some of these drivers run on the driver's left, and he's able to spot the yellow and red number 80 of Alex Tagliani. But again, without the wind blowing through these two walls, the concrete walls, it builds temperature. And with the added temperature in the brakes, you run the risk of melting down the bead on these General tires and causing a flat.
There's actually a good look down the backstretch here. You see every car pretty much has these 3 cutouts on the left and the right side of the car. That's for air to get to the brakes. So guys will have fans hooked up, probably 3 fans on each side, just really trying to get as much air as possible to these brakes. And they'll have them going the whole time. Just, it really is the most important part of this race is managing your brakes, while also managing that track position at the same time.
That's a great dice for 7th on back. Kennington, Clute, LeBay, and Sam Fellows all connected. It looks to be like with a trailer hitch. They're all tied to each other. Gary Clute fans out a little bit. Maybe a quick bump from the 36 of Alex LeBay as he tries to make his way around. The Autologic number 59 will stay out in front of the 36 of LeBay as they continue to chase the Castrol Edge Dodge of DJ Kennington. You saw Sam Fellows, I think he backed up a little bit because he was unsure as to what was going to play out between the 59 and the 36.
Yeah, the 59 of Gary Clute looks like he's having to work that car really hard right now. It looks like it's really loose, whereas you'll see Alex LeBay right behind him. That car looks, quite a bit more under control. He's trying not to use his stuff up too much, but I think he feels like his car's probably a little better than the 59 at the moment. He's just trying to make that pass while he can.
This is sort of the way a typical Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres starts out. Everybody plays nice in the early going of the 60 laps here on the streets of Trois-Rivieres. And these are streets at Trois-Rivieres. This is not a parking lot. This is not some events ground. These are actual streets used by commuters on Monday.
Yeah,
you'll open them back up.
You'll see it's really bumpy out here, but it's really an amazing track to race at. I remember being really nervous coming here as my first road course, but right as I started getting into a rhythm, I just was having so much fun.
Dominic Fougere is the promoter of this event. What a wonderful job he does to maintain the hype here at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres, as we have some hype building, and now we don't. Caution is out, and it is number 83 of Martin Goulet Jr. from Mascouche, Quebec. And he is in the tire wall, and it looks like he just overcooked it.
Definitely looks like some oil down here. The 83 got really out of shape, and then Dexter Stacy behind him too, so we'll have to get a better
Look at
idea.
the windshield of Dexter Stacy as well. You can see that oil sheen on the right-hand side, the driver's right-hand side of the recap recovery drink number 92. So you might be right. There'll be oil down, or at least some sort of fluid down in that corner. So Goulet is up against the tire wall. You can see significant damage in his very first start on the wheel of that number 83 Chevrolet. And this is the opportunity that the teams were looking for. It's an early caution. It's in their pit window as far as fuel goes. So we might be able to see some of these drivers down pit lane. So Goulet able to refire, and he'll head to pit lane. And with a break, you're watching the NASCAR Canada Series here on Rev TV. And welcome back to the 7th race of the 2025 NASCAR Canada Series season here on Rev TV. There you can see the number 83 of Martin Goulet Jr. being pushed back to the paddock area, and here's what happened to him. You see the 22 of Kyle Steckley, the 92 of Dexter Stacey, also getting hard on the brakes and smoking the front tire. So looks like potentially some fluid down. It might even be because of the 83 himself. Yeah,
that's through turn 8 there. So a lot of their braking's done before that, and not a really hard braking zone either. So I want to say there's definitely some oil down. It could have been the 83 for sure. It didn't look like anyone was quite off pace in front of the 83, but those cars were slipping and sliding around coming through behind him.
Now the black flag is in the hands of the official NASCAR starter here on the front straightaway, and we'll see who he'll be looking for as the caution still is displayed under a full course caution for the first time here in the Rousseau Metals 60 at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres. And it looks like that black flag is going to stay in his pocket, at least for this lap by, as the entire field rolls by. Well, we can tell you once again that it is the 80 of Alex Tagliani. We'll take another look at the original start here. The drivers fan out, especially deeper in the field, looking for some real estate. Tagliani in there with Andrew Ranger through turn number 2.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a tough one for sure. Alex had a really good turn 1, but then that put him on the outside through turn 2, and Ranger able to capitalize. Tag's looking really quick though, and I think he's going to have something here.
Yeah, he made an aggressive move on Ranger in turn number 6, and then turn number 9 was where he took over the lead, and he's been there ever since. And this, again, the reason for the caution. Dexter Stacey just got woed enough to avoid contact with the 83 of Martin Goulet. So waiting for pit lane to open. It will be shortly, but we'll take another quick breath here on Rev TV. You're watching the Rousseau Metals 60 at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres. Welcome back. Pit road is open, and it's a hive of activity. Let's head down with the Pinty's Pit update and Todd Lewis. Todd?
Jammed up at pit lane, and it was Alex Tagliani with a fast and efficient service to get him back out in front of the field. The 27 of Andrew Ranger also quick. He'll leapfrog a spot on the 96 of Marc-Antoine Cameron, and LP Dumoulin also with quick service. All are done for fuel. Now we'll wait and see if any of them decide to return later on for tires. Remember, it's not a mandatory tire stop, and if you do stop, you've got to take all 4.
Still 51 laps left to be completed here in the Rousseau Metals 60, and you saw the fuel pouring out the overflow of some of those cars because you never know when you might need that extra fuel if there is multiple green-white checkers to finish this one off.
Yeah, and it's very possible, right? It's not something that we haven't seen here at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres. So just trying to get them packed. The crews are doing the best that they can. As Todd touched on, this could be the only time that a lot of these guys coming down pit road. So we'll have to see how the race plays out. Tires aren't mandatory. We could see some guys take them, maybe try and leapfrog later in the race if we get another caution.
Dexter Stacey made that stop because he was involved, or at least almost came to arrest, in that incident involving Martin Goulet. And so that's why you see the recap recovery drink number 92 up towards the front of the field. Some of the other drivers did not make their pit stops. including Kevin Lacroix, Matthew Kingsbury, Ryan Vargas. So they were opting for track position, which, as you've mentioned, is almost more important than having better tires or rolling the dice later on and taking a fuel stop then.
I almost think these guys might have determined they don't even need fuel. We mentioned it really doesn't take a whole lot. It's just a splash. That's what they've been saying for years. We've seen guys duck off on lap 1, lap 2 to just top up and have enough to the end. So potentially the 74, Kevin Lacroix, might not ever come down pit road this race.
Good look at the 22 of Kyle Steckley at Milverton, Ontario, in the Sierra Excavating Bolton GM Chevrolet. So he did have some damage to the nose of that number 22. Got some tape to fix that up. Looks like he is good to go, and he'll be put up at least a couple of spots just ahead of the Superior Propane number 84 of Larry Jackson. But as they say, and it is such a cliche in motorsports, that cautions breed cautions, but it is always the case here at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres. It's an opportunity to gain positions, and especially if you've been fighting with somebody for so many laps, now you see this as your opportunity to pounce.
Yeah, you have to take advantage of these restarts. Turn 1 is a really great passing opportunity. So if you get a good start, you can potentially leapfrog a few cars right away. The thing that you do have to watch out for, you have to stay in line until you get past the start-finish line. If you don't, you'll get penalized. So you got to wait for that. You almost need to time your run so that you can get it just past start-finish line and peak out going into turn 1.
And you mentioned too, if you don't have that pass completed in turn number 1, it almost puts you at a disadvantage because you're on the outside of turn number 2 and you'll likely lose it.
Yeah, especially through turn 2 and turn 3. You definitely can't make that work on the outside.
So let's head pit side once again and check in with Todd Lewis with a Pinty's Pit Update. Todd?
Yeah, it's an interesting call by the 74 team. They decided to stay out. As you guys mentioned, they have the track position now, and they'll find themselves out in front of the field. Could work out. It would seem, though, that the logical choice would be stop during the caution. That way you get your fuel. You don't have to stop, but you are required to make a stop before lap 50. Still a long way to go. If you don't make that stop, it's at least a 2-lap penalty. So at some point, you have to expect Kevin Lacroix will be in here. And if Trois-Rivieres plays out as it has in the past, I don't expect this is the last caution flag we'll have.
No, you can almost be guaranteed that the drivers will have another opportunity to pit, but at that point, how many cars are left on the lead lap? Where is that going to put you in the mix? That's what the 74 team is rolling the dice on right now.
It's an interesting call for sure. The plus side of it is that he gets that clean air out front, so that's more to the brakes, more to the motor. He's able to conserve his stuff a little bit more, but yeah, there is kind of that bad side of it too, that when he does come out for fuel, he could be behind 20, 21 cars, and that'll be tough to make up that track position later. So we still got a lot to play out here. Who really knows what could happen?
For drivers like Ryan Vargas, Matthew Kingsbury, they're now sitting inside the top 3. Kingsbury in second, Ryan Vargas in third. They're still very much in the mix of the points hunt. Kingsbury in 6th, Vargas in 7th. Vargas does have a lot of road racing experience after running a season in NASCAR Euro, so he might just be thinking, I need to get clean air and I need to get comfortable, but I can lay down some pretty good laps here.
Yeah, and I saw Vargas was talking about how much he's enjoying this too. This is his first street circuit here at the GP3R. He's obviously got a great mentor to lean on there with the 17 of DJ Kennington, a guy that has a lot of experience here. So Vargas, this is a good opportunity for him to keep it clean out front.
You see the field starting to double up, and we should mention that the 55 of Serge Bordeaux is there. Also, the 75 of Benoit Couture is in the mix with a lot of these lead drivers as well. So they were fairly off the pace in practice and qualifying, but they're shooting their shot right now and hoping it sticks. But you can see Couture is already backing off a little bit from the 92 of Dexter Stacey, hoping to get a run. And here comes the 36 of Alex LeBay down pit lane. So just as we're set to head back to green, the field inching its way to the Pinty's restart zone. Already the 36 heads down pit lane as the green flag waves once again, and we're back underway here at the Grand Prix at Trois-Rivieres. Ranger swallows up Serge Bordeaux in the 55. We were 4 wide there for a second.
Yeah, we're going to see how NASCAR handles that. It looked like the 27 might have been out of line before the start-finish line, which NASCAR's been calling that. They got the 96 on it at Calabogie, so we're going to have to see there.
And a bump to the back of Ryan Vargas from the 27 of Andrew Ranger. He sees this as his opportunity to get up to the front, and he wants to get there now. Pulls to the inside as they head towards turn number 6. Still your race leader, the 74 of Kevin Lacroix, but Ranger now will move to the inside of the critical path. Security number 28, who loses 1, 2, maybe 3 spots in one corner. Kingsbury still holding down second in the Jura King, number 9. Dexter Stacy slides it through turn number 8 in the recap recovery drink, number 92, way to the outside on the exit of turn number 9 as he continues to try and hold off the GM Paye Chevrolet, number 27 of Andrew Ranger.
Dexter's been being really defensive here, but it looks like the 27 is going to get a good run into turn 1. And the 80 of Alex Tagliani is going to try and follow him through 2, but like you mentioned, it puts him in a tough position being on the outside of turn 2 as he's going to try and swap over, go to the inside instead.
Yeah, now he's going to slide in, go single file in through the Duplessis gates, turn number 3. No, he's not. He pokes the nose and then thought better of that. That was going to end in a wreck, so Tagliani decides to keep the fenders on that 80 machine and slide back in line as they head down this back straightaway, which is not fully straight. It's about 3 corners if you look on the track map.
The big winner here right now is Andrew Ranger. He's getting a pretty good cushion on the 80 of Alex Tagliani and the 96 of Marc-Antoine Cameron as well.
And the big loser has to be Ryan Vargas as he continues to get swallowed up. Now, Dumoulin, Kloot, and now JF Dumoulin are all flowing past the number 28 of Ryan Vargas as he continues to struggle. Now Gannett gets by him as well, and look at what we have here, a resumption of this battle between the 96 and the 80, not for the lead this time, but for a little bit deeper in the field for 5th spot. That's where Tagliani finds himself right now, and he's looking for 4th into turn number 1. Tagliani, the inside of Dexter Stacy. Will he get that completed? He does. So we'll have the spot. It's Marc-Antoine Cameron on the outside of turn number 2, and he can make that work if your car is good enough on the outside.
Yeah, obviously that 96 of Marc-Antoine Cameron really strong right now, and just kind of biding his time. So you like how he mentioned in his interview earlier, he's got to remain intelligent for the whole 60 laps. So he's being smart. He's keeping the fenders on. He knows he's got a good piece, and ultimately he's got to be there on lap 60.
Kingsbury just turned his fastest lap of the race, chasing Kevin Lacroix, which is not a huge surprise. You'll learn a lot from following faster drivers. And now Cameron and Alex Tagliani will hook up, and no doubt you won't see these two start to mix it up too much because of that gap between Andrew Ranger and Alex Tagliani. They need to close that gap, so work together, go single file.
Yeah, you'd think so. These guys they're both pretty aggressive, and I think they both want the track position. So I don't know if the 96 is going to pressure Alex too much, but I know Alex is probably going to be a little defensive of that position right now too.
LP Dumoulin took a look out on the inside of the 92 of Dexter Stacy, but follows him. Now they're side by side on the outside of turn number 2, but this is still the battle that we're watching for 4th and 5th between Alex Tagliani and the 96 of Marc-Antoine Cameron. We can tell you that the 74 of Kevin Lacroix continues to lead over the 9 of Matthew Kingsbury. The difference at the front, though, only 3/10 the last time they crossed the stripe. So all credit to Matthew Kingsbury for keeping pace with a talented driver like Kevin Lacroix.
He's been laying down some really good laps, and these two are teammates, so you can think that the cars probably came to the track really similar. The 9 learning a lot from Kevin as well, and been really fast. So he's keeping the pressure on Kevin. Kevin might be trying to manage his stuff a little bit too, keep the brakes and tires on the car.
Kevin Lacroix from Saint-Eustache, Quebec. He has won here in the past, as a matter of fact, on a couple of different occasions. 2015 and 2016, he visited Victory Lane. He's trying to do it again here 10 years after his first trip to Victory Lane at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres. Feel that roar of the crowd as they step out. A Quebec native winning here at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres is unlike any other feeling. You can just feel this place erupt.
I mean, the atmosphere here is unlike nothing else. We had those drone shots earlier where you could just see all the cars packed in here. So the people definitely came out in crowds, and it's a really exciting event for everyone who's involved.
Well, and it's funny you mentioned the atmosphere, too, because it's not just an atmosphere here at the track. It's an atmosphere over the course of the weekend downtown in Trois-Rivieres. They close streets. They just welcome people out, and it is an entire motorsports festival. It is an event like no other.
It really is. We see the 96 of Marc-Antoine Cameron trying to work over the 80. He's being kind of passive-aggressive right now. He obviously feels like he has a faster car. Even them battling the 27 of Andrew Ranger's not getting too far out up front, but he's also trying to be smart at the same time and try and conserve his equipment.
They are closing the gap on Andrew Ranger. Collectively, they're about 0.3 a lap quicker than the 27 of Ranger, but the 96 is using up what he has in that car. He's almost touching the concrete wall. He almost did it just a lap earlier, so I'm just brushed past it. There's no damage to it. As a matter of fact, he barely scuffed off any stickers, but he is using every inch of this racetrack.
And it looks like right now that the 96 of Marc-Antoine Cameron is really good through entry, center of the corner. He's struggling a little bit on exit, though, and that's really what's making it challenging to get by the 80 car.
The 36 of Alex Labbé, who ducked down pit lane just as we were going back to green, is all the way back up into 20th position. So we're keeping an eye on the driver of the 36, and that's actually a pretty good roll of the dice. He went to the tail of the field, but now that everybody's sort of fanned out a little bit more, he's able to gather up those positions fairly quickly. Again, this is the battle, probably the closest one on the track that we've been watching. It's the number 96 of Marc-Antoine Cameron, who now dives underneath, a last-minute dive underneath the 80 of Alex Tagliani. So a swap of 4th and 5th as the GM Paillet, number 96 of Marc-Antoine Cameron, that livery honoring Gilles Villeneuve, and cars stopped on the racetrack, and I believe that is Benoit Couture, the number 75. It is indeed the rookie stripe. You see the 75 in the tail light. And that is in a tough spot. That will draw a full course caution for the second time. So you can see the officials trying to notify the drivers that there is a stopped car on the racetrack, but we're under full course caution. We'll gather the field and likely see some pit stop action once again. We'll be back with more. You're watching the NASCAR Canada Series live on Rev TV. This is a facility that opened way back in 1967. It is the oldest running street in North America, and it never fails to bring lots of action. Now we have our second full course caution. Back for a stopped Benoit Couture just off of turn. He headed down the back straightaway, so that's going to mix things up. They'll also give an opportunity. There's the 75. Benoit Couture getting pushed back to the pits. So it looks like that power plant just came to an end, unfortunately, for the of the 75. Had that great restart position that really mixed things up on restart number 1 here, but Kevin Lacroix was race leader as we went to caution with Matthew Kingsbury run second, and it is important to note that those two drivers did not make their mandatory pit stop. They have to. And now problems for the BetGR number 39 of Alex Gannett. This is a story. Gannett qualified in the top 5 and was one of the threats to win this race for the second time. Gannett in 2022. Todd, on pit lane, what is happening with the driver of the 39?
39 is also in. Well, they slowed down and came down pit lane a little bit earlier. They think they have an issue with sway bar, whether it's unhooked or whether it has broken. They believe it's a sway bar issue. So even though the pits are still closed, they're taking the time to make the rip in that 39 right now.
So you rub a penalty if you come down pit lane when it's closed, but you gain the benefit of time working on the car.
Yeah, absolutely. It's tough to drive around this joint with no sway. Potentially what could happen on low air, the sway bar link can drive around a little bit. A lot of guys will start on low air just to try and maximize the grip. So that potentially could have happened or just could have broke by itself. They'll try and get it fixed up and try not to lose a lap. I think the head of pitting under pits closed is probably an end of the line penalty. So at the end of the day, it's probably off.
Now you can see the pits are open. The green flag comes out, and here comes Kevin Lacroix and Matthew Kingsbury. So the two are now down pit lane looking for fuel this time. They do need to make at least a mandatory fuel stop here in the Rousseau Metal 60. Kevin Lacroix will be making sure to keep to that road speed limit. Matthew Kingsbury does the same as they their pit stalls, and let's head down pit side once again with a Pitties Pit update, Lewis.
Come back to me. Yeah, a really interesting strategy call that Kevin is taking his 4 tires now. This is not a required stop. The Lacroix team has chosen to take the 4 tires. They will still have to make a stop for fuel. The 9, his teammate Matthew Kingsbury, just stopped for it, is already down and away.
A little bit of a slow stop, and it looks like they're actually making some adjustments to the bend of the 74. So potentially something amiss for the driver, the Napa Racing number 74, Eustache, Quebec. Kevin Lacroix, now it looks like the crew done their work and he's away.
I like the call. I mean, you can't take tires and fuel at the same time down pit road. We'll probably see the 74 come back around and get his fuel stop done as well. I mean, we're on lap 21, so we're still just shy of halfway, but that's one less laps he's going to have on these general tires and the rest of the field. So going to provide a little bit of advantage. I kind of doubt we see the top guys come in first, so this is an advantage he's going to carry into through the rest of the race. Obviously, the downside is he's stuck behind 24 cars at the moment. That'll be tough around these tight streets, but Kevin's got a quick car and just up until that caution.
And now for him, it's all about being patient. It's all about working back up through the field and try and capitalize on those brand new tires and take what they give you, but to stay out of it. And that's exactly what the 74 team has to do. It looks like Kevin won't have the opportunity to make a second stop to come down for a splash of fuel. We're head green as the field lines up 2 by 2. Andrew Ranger is leader with Alex Tagliani starting alongside Marc-Antoine Cameron, Dumoulin, Gary Clute, and JF Dumoulin make a first 3 rows here as we go back to green. Dexter Stacy still in the mix in the recap recovery drink 92, and you can see Lassard up there as well. Number 7 as the green flag comes out as the field were to Pinty's restart zone and head toward turn number 1 and smoke from the number 1 Tagliani.
Yeah, we saw a wiggle there as he's getting up through the gearbox. Potentially a transmission issue, but it looks like he's definitely leaking some fluid.
Yes, something coming out of the back of that one. And no doubt Marc-Antoine Cameron was screaming on his radio, but this has to be heartbreaking for the driver 80 who looks so fast in the early going of this race. Try and get Todd Lewis to have a quick chat with Don Thompson Jr. here in just a second as all the information gets relayed back to the pit box. Don't see any fluid on the back end. Boy, you can see fluid on the track. Look at how loose everybody is through turn number 6. This is a caution. Likely some fluid down from the 80 of Alex Tagliani.
Yeah, and we saw down the backstretch there, Cameron wasn't following right in the tire tracks of the 80 car, so definitely some fluid down. You saw that wiggle when he was getting up to speed there. Potentially could have missed a shift or an issue there with the transmission, rear end, something of that matter.
Yeah, I saw the 04 of JF Dumoulin very loose as they were coming to the green. Andrew Ranger was the only one who didn't have to worry about any of that. But now you can see the drivers trying to work some of that fluid off their tires, and now the black flag being shown to the number 80 of Alex Tagliani. And so he'll have to quickly make his way back to pit lane. But sometimes they do leave the cars out. A little bit of smoke might clear itself up. It might have just been rubber on the headers or things like that. So they want to make sure and take a good hard look at it and see what the problem might be. They don't want to just automatically throw a caution for the first hint of smoke.
Yeah, most of the time they'll try and give the drivers the benefit of the doubt, but it looked like there that it was probably more than a little bit. We saw a lot of the drivers sideways through turn 6. So, for the benefit of the rest of the field, they don't want to tear up some cars and cause a big incident. So probably the safest bet here to bring the caution and have the 80 car come down pit road.
Heads up to Tagliani too. He's now off the racing line and he's sort of to the inside, well into the passing lane. So any fluid that he continues to drop down will be out of the main line. But what a change of events here. And have a look. There's the smoke from Tagliani as we take a look. Do we have a better idea of what might have happened? It looked like it was right on the restart. And you can't really see any fluid going down. So potentially rear end issues as well. That might be an option.
Yeah. I mean, it's still driving around the track. So, could be a rear end issue, could be a transmission issue. Never really know here, but they might be able to get it fixed up.
Let's see what pit side is going to tell us, and we'll head down for a Pinty's pit update and check in with our Todd Lewis. Todd?
A lot of head shaking going on in that 80 team right now. They think it is something in the rear end of the car. They are not exactly sure what. They're going to have to get a look at it, maybe get it up on jack stands to see. But the idea of another victory is going away for Alex Tagliani as he makes a stop along pit road. They'll check to the back end of the car. He's overshot the pit box just a little bit to compound their problems. But his day has already taken a turn south. But yes, something in the rear end of the car has gone away.
Yeah, they were asking to get that car pushed back. The NASCAR official will take a look at things there, but the hood is up. The car is already up on jack stands, and the day looks like it is. Oh, it's a big one. Lots of fluid coming out of the engine compartment, and you can see the crew giving the universal sign for we're done here. That's heartbreak for the UPS store. Saint Hubert BetGRW sponsored team. Tagliani was so quick. I think he was holding his cards close to his chest off the initial start when he talked with Todd. He said the car was decent. It was very, very good. Unfortunately, it's just not going to last today.
Yeah, and you see all the oil over the hood too. So unfortunately, it's going to be a terminal issue for the 80 car.
Yeah, it's more than a rear end seal that went. That is going to be an inspection hole where there shouldn't be an inspection hole on that engine of the Chevrolet Camaro, and the Teach Motorsports crew will just clean that one up, push it back to the hauler, and go get them next time at ICAR. So Don Thompson Jr. trying to give his commands from the top of the box, but Alex Tagliani out of this one early. We continue under caution here in the Rousseau Metals 60, the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres. And welcome back to a quiet Grand Prix of Trois-Rivieres, and the reason is a blown engine on the 80 of Alex Tagliani. He sits along pit lane, but what has happened is the 80 has dumped fluid all the way around this racetrack. So we are under a red flag condition. NASCAR taking the opportunity to stop this field so they can make the cleanup needed on the track, make it safe again, and allow these drivers to go back to green flag racing. But if you would just circle them around while we make this lengthy cleanup, it's just going to burn fuel. It's just going to make these drivers hot in these race cars. So it is best to stop things down, save the laps, and get the cleanup done. Let's head back pit side once again and check in with our Todd Lewis. Todd?
Yeah, definitely. This is the right call for the NASCAR officials. Clean up this mess that is out on the track with the fluid. And we're still waiting for Alex to get out of the car. I think he's a little bit reluctant to relinquish that seat just yet, but we'll have a chat with him when he gets out. But the team is having a look at it. But as you said, this is a terminal issue. His day is done, and the cleanup is going to continue for some time.
Tagliani is another driver who loves this place. As a matter of fact, ran some radical races here earlier this weekend, finishing on the podium in his very first start. So under a red flag here in the Rousseau Meadows 60 at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres. We'll be back here on Rev TV. And welcome back to the NASCAR Canada Series at the Grand Prix Trois-Rivieres. A very hot day, and this is much needed relief to some of these fans in the grandstands here today as they get a little bit of a cool down on a very, very warm day. And again, we're under a red flag, so all work on pit lane also stops, and that's important.
Yeah, I mean, the 80 of Alex Tagliani still hadn't exited his car there right before he threw to commercials. So, it could potentially be a situation where they lost an oil line or something like that, and that's something that they can get fixed and get back out there.
Now you can see one of the crew members there holding a fan into the cockpit of the 80 car of Alex Tagliani, in the field stopped here on the front straightaway. But Todd Lewis has been making his way up and down pit lane, gathering up the stories here during this red flag, and joins us with a Pinty's Pit Road update. Todd?
Well, we'll give you a little bit of a scoop and a little bit of breaking news, if you will, not for this event at GP3R, but for one coming up in a couple of weeks when the NASCAR Canada Series returns to Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. It'll be a new first-time entry. Jack Polito has filed an entry to participate in that race. If the name sounds familiar, it's because he's a two-time GT4 champion in the SCCC, and he's planning on making his NASCAR Canada Series debut at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. He's got a new team that they've put together. They have a test scheduled for about a week and a half from now, but he is very excited and very much looking forward to his debut in NASCAR Canada in a couple of weeks.
That is exciting news. Jack Polito is a dominant driver in a GT4 car at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, so it'll be interesting to see him behind the wheel of a bigger, heavier NASCAR Canada Series car. Very different from a sports car, but a lot of fun to drive.
It is, and I'm sure he'll get acclimated to it really quick. Obviously, that test is going to be really beneficial. Get up to speed and be racing with the series in September there.
And we'll take a look at what has happened so far as we continue under this red flag, and that is where Alex Tagliani took over second from Andrew Ranger, and there's where he assumed the lead before the problems hit the 80 team, and he sits on pit road. And the cleanup continues here at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres, and as it does, we'll take another quick break here on Rev TV. And welcome back to the Rousseau Metals 60 at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres. And there is the vehicle that may get the most laps led award at the end of the day here today. A massive cleanup after an engine issue on the 80 car of Alex Tagliani. You can see the drivers lined up along the wall, and that is because they're trying to find some shade. It is so very hot here today, so sitting in those cars has got to be torture.
Yeah, I feel for these guys right now. I mean, it's a hot day to begin with, and then when you get a red flag condition like this, you got no airflow going through the cars. Generally, you can't have your AC machine running at the same time because you'll drain the battery, so it's a tough situation all around.
Yeah, we can talk about one of the drivers who's now sitting inside the top 5, and it's a bit of a strategy game, but Daryl Timmers is making a start here at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres, a deal that sort of came together last minute. He's shown good speed here today, but he improved his position just based on staying out.
Daryl's a really experienced road course racer, and we'll look for him to stay up there the rest of the race, hopefully, how the strategy plays out. Basically, anything can happen now that we've got the field all bunched up.
He's waiting for the yellows to roll his way. So let's head down pit side and check in with Todd once again. Todd?
Well, I can give you a little update on the 80 car of Alex Tagliani. The reason he's remaining in it, with the fan in the window, of course, is they have not given up hope in making some sort of stopgap repair. They're going to cut the leak off at the pump that has been leaking and hopefully plug it up, stop it up, see if that will hold. It's a last-ditch effort, but they've really got nothing to lose at this point because of all the track position that they have lost. So they're waiting for the red flag to be lifted so that they can return to work, but they are going to try one last gasp to try to get that 80 car back out again.
And that's important about having a red flag period. You get the opportunity to make a plan before you're really thrust into working out that plan. And so at least now they can get all the parts they need, get the tools that they need, and start to go to work once this red flag is lifted. And it sounds that it's been lifted.
At this point, he's only lost one lap with these guys coming around here, and these pace laps at Trois-Rivieres are long, so it gives them an opportunity to potentially get it patched up, get back out on track without losing too many laps, and you know, we could still have a lot more cautions, which give him an opportunity to get those laps back, so to see here.
He could get put in that free pass position, and that would, in fact, give him the opportunity to get one of those laps back, potentially, but now the work starts. As we mentioned, you can't work on the car when the red flag is displayed. You can as soon as the caution is out, and there you can see lots of oil being ready to be poured into the 80 car of Alex Tagliani as the field will try to once again get some heat back in those general tires. We talk about ambient air and how hot it is for the drivers, but sitting stopped on the racetrack cools down these general tires, and now you have to wonder how they're going to come back after a heat cycle gets worn through it.
It could be beneficial to Kevin Lacroix, too. I mean, Kevin Lacroix did come down pit road, get those new tires. The thing with cycling tires, you know, they get hot, then they cool down again. It generally hardens them up. It makes them not stick as good, really. So this could benefit the 74 of Kevin Lacroix. I would expect Kevin to get his fuel stop out of the way here, too, when pit road does open up. So the 74 could be the big winner out of all this.
Could be. We have the 04 of JF Dumoulin up towards the front of the field as well, inside the top 5, the Omnifab 04. So he's a driver who's desperately looking to win his hometown race. Comes out of Trois-Rivieres, Quebec. He's had a number of close calls at victory lane here in the past and has always come up short. Unfortunately, his best finish here was a second place as the work starts once again on the BetGRW number 39 of Alex Gannett, and they're hoping to get that sway bar fixed. It is a broken sway bar on the 39, and they're hoping to get it repaired, get that car and driver back out, but the window net is still up, so Gannett is hopeful he can be out in short order.
We saw a crew guy standing there with the new sway bar arm, so definitely, you know, one of the links wore off or punctured the sway bar arm there. It could been caused by hitting a curb too hard, caused by low air as a mix of it as well. So he's probably a couple laps down at this point, probably in the same situation as Alex Tagliani if he were to get back out there, really just trying to put themselves in a position to get that lucky dog, get some free pass, and, you know, get back on the lead lap come the end of the race here.
Yeah, Gannett will be 2 laps down as the field crosses over the start-finish line this time, but earlier in the race, we touched on it during some of the pace laps as the Corvette pace car led things off, but this was a really unique unveiling that happened on Friday here at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres, and it was a very big surprise to Ron Fellows. We had our cameras there as you see Dominic Fougere, the promoter here, and Ron Fellows gets a first look at this brand new Corvette, but an old livery from 2001. And you can see the big smile on Ron Fellows' face and a big handshake and a hug for Dominic Fougere. That livery is the same one that he drove to victory lane in 2001 at Le Mans. It's such a throwback scheme, but it is so cool to see.
Really cool. And you see how special it is for Ron, too. So pretty cool to see that yellow Corvette leading the field around the track here in pace laps.
He loves his old race cars. As a matter of fact, he's had a line on a couple of them in the past, but yeah, that one especially took him to victory lane at a historic race at Le Mans. As we mentioned, again, the history here at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres. And you see the history playing out with the tribute to Gilles Villeneuve on both Paillet-sponsored cars at the front of the field. Andrew Ranger with the The paint scheme that looks like the helmet famously worn by Gilles Villeneuve, and then the ski rule paint scheme for Marc-Antoine Cameron. That's a cool one because a lot of people don't know that Gilles Villeneuve, in addition to racing Formula One, also raced snowmobiles. His brother Jacques did so as well, and they raced for Ski Rule back in the 70s before he made the jump to Formula One. I think after that they said, you know what, maybe he's off on racing snowmobiles and focus on Formula One. But now that the caution flag is displayed, the pit road has opened once again, and now will we see any takers? We'll head down and check in once again with our Todd Lewis. Todd?
We thought it was going to open, but apparently they have extended one more. No, they are opening pit road. The 22 of Kyle Steckley is coming along pit road, mired deep in the field. He's been struggling with this car, and just to get it handling the way he wanted, figure why not? Let's throw 4 fresh General tires on it and see what we can do in the later stages, maybe make a couple of adjustments. They did make some changes after practice. He didn't think it was a lot better during the qualifying, but it was just a quick test, of course, with a couple of laps, but he is along pit road for 4 fresh General's tires. Alexander Fortin is also right behind him, getting 4 fresh General tires.
Alexander Fortin making his first start for the EHR team, and of course the last time that team had a brand new driver in the cockpit of that car, and went to victory lane at Calabogie Motorsport Park with Connor Bell picking up his first win in his first start. Alexander Fortin does have wins here in the past, came at the wheel of a Nissan Sentra Cup car as the critical path security Dodge number 28 of Ryan Vargas makes a quick stop down pit lane. Looks like some issues. Vargas not happy with that. Remember, he had that restart where he was up at the front and then started drifting back fairly quickly.
It did look like on that restart that he potentially could have been down on power a little bit. It looked like guys were kind of getting by him in a straight line there. So hopefully get the 28 car fixed up and back out there. It looks like they might be some confusion on what exactly is going wrong, but it looks like a guy through the passenger side right now, possibly an electrical issue.
Yeah, could be working on, now they're right into the dash on the number 28. So trying to get this sorted. And again, Vargas, not a part-time racer here in 2025. He's been able to make all starts and comes into this one 7th in points. Just 29 markers out of the points lead here in the 2025 NASCAR Canada Series. As you see the field come through. Ron Fellows' son, Sam Fellows, in the 87 car, sitting in 7th spot. And again, he's had some pretty good runs here in the past at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres. As a matter of fact, he has finished 6th here. That was his first top 10 back in 2022. That was the same year that Alex Guenette visited Victory Lane. But look at this. From this beautiful drone shot, you have the field of cars completely filled. That's fans and people who work here at the festival, at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres as well, but it is just packed.
And just one parking lot too. There's many of them scattered all over the place. So this place is jammed. Obviously the weather is great. It's a huge spectacle in the streets of Trois-Rivieres. So the people come out in crowds for this one, and it's exciting to see.
It is so cool because you're so close to the downtown, and we talked a little bit about the festival atmosphere of downtown. They close some streets, but you can actually walk from your hotel, a lot of the hotels in downtown, and come to the track. So you don't even have to bring a car if you don't want to. Take a cab, take public transit, or just walk your way to this facility, and that's what makes it so unique. It's a lot like the Toronto Indy track that we've seen in the past. It brings the racing to the people. Through the historic Duplessis gates and turn number 3, and the field comes through.
Cool to see some drivers take advantage of that set of tires that was laying on pit road there, and that's what we mentioned at the start of the show too, right? This isn't a track where the fall off is too much, so we weren't really expecting some of our top drivers to take that extra pit stop and lose a track position, but we see some drivers taking advantage of it and just trying to roll the dice a little bit, get a bit off strategy.
Yeah, the Omnifab 04 of JF Dumoulin was one of those drivers who did come down, took some brand new General tires, and so he'll give it a whirl. And we'll get to see him and Kevin Lacroix come up from deeper in the field. So it'll be interesting to see as the field starts to line up 2 by 2 here Not quite yet. Now the lights are off on the pace car, and it heads towards pit lane. We're side by side at the front, but it'll have to be a hurry to get this field aligned as we work our way through turn 9, 10, and on to turn number 11 in the front straight and go back to green. You can see the 80 of Alex Tagliani still along pit lane, but the top two lined up side by side. It's Andrew Ranger, Marc-Antoine Cameron, a couple of GM Paillet-backed entries into the Pinty's restart zone, and back to green we go. Great start by the WeatherTech number 47 of LB Dumoulin, as he holds off the Autologic number 59 of Gary Kloot. Slots in single file. Dexter Stacey still on the outside of Daryl Timmers, as Timmers welcomes himself inside the top 5.
Andrew Ranger with a really good launch down the back straightaway. That's going to allow him to be pretty clear into turn 6 here, unless the 96 is able to be that much better under braking. But looks like that 27 car is pretty strong as we head into the second half of the race.
Sam Fellows, there's Raphael Lessard, all working around, and we got a car up into the wall. It is Simon Charbonneau, a couple of them in there. There's the number 1 of JP Bergeron and the 73 of Donald Teach as well. An unfamiliar number, but similar livery to the Teach cars that we've seen running all season. Teach running the 73, but still Garois construction. And they find themselves in the tire wall in turn number 6 as we complete another lap.
NASCAR is going to try and keep it green in hopes that they can get those cars fired up. Just a bit of a local caution here, so we get a replay at the wreck here.
The 88 was way up on the outside, and that car just didn't turn. And then,
wow, what a save by DJ Kennington, too. The 73 of Donald Teach got into him a little bit. 17 was able to keep it straight.
Nowhere to go for the 1 of Bergeron, but yeah, there's the contact to the inside wall. And so it looks like Teach caught both the 17 and the inside wall. I think Kennington didn't know the 73 was there. He turned down on him a little bit to avoid the 88 that was going into the tire wall.
Yeah, that's a tight area. They were 3 wide going into turn 6 there. You had the 73 on the inside, 17, and then the 88 on the outside there. And then it looked like the 73 might have got the inside wall and some suspension damage and a flat tire here.
Yeah, look at that right front wheel that is pointed to the outside. So a toe problem for the 73 of Donald Teach. We stay under green, and that's important to note, as Teach does have a general tire down on the left side as well. So more than one issue. There's the raised fiberglass nose of the 1 of JP Bergeron. The E-Racer Ford is still out there, still doing battle. But much has changed here in a couple laps since we've gone back to green. And Tagliani is down in a way as well. You see the Saint-Hubert number 80 back out on the track, and we can tell you that Tagliani is 7 laps down to your race leader, who continues to be Andrew Ranger, followed by Marc-Antoine Cameron and LB Dumoulin.
And also of note there, Alex Gannett got back out on track in the 39. He's only 1 lap down, so he could still be in this. We get a caution and get the free pass, and as the caution does come out.
And there it is. So we have to check to see where Gannett is as far as lap down cars, but I'm pretty sure he's going to be the first one a lap down. And so that'll put him in the free pass position, but a full course caution out on the field once again here on lap 32 of 60 at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres. We're watching the NASCAR Canada Series on Rev TV. And welcome back to the NASCAR Canada Series live on Rev TV. I'm Dave Bradley. Joined with me in the booth is 2023 NASCAR Canada Series champion Trayton Lapsevich. Todd Lewis is patrolling the pits for us, but out of the car, you can see him standing up near the wall, is Donald Teege. A shrug of the shoulders. His day is done. A flat left front tire has since been repaired, but most importantly is the suspension damage to the Garoua construction number 73 on the right-hand side. So that's the problem. Actually, let's get an update from the driver himself and our very own Todd Lewis on pit side as we check in once again with another Pinty's Pit Road update. Todd?
Yeah, the left front tire has been changed, but Donald out of the car. Take me through the view from your seat as to what happened out there.
We start 10 and we had a good car. I was patient since the beginning, so I tried to pass DJ inside. I don't know if he didn't see me, so when he cut the turn, I hit the wall in my left tire, and somebody hit me on the back, so couldn't do nothing, but that's racing.
Frustrating end. Donald Teege catches the wall on the inside, then piles it into the outside, and that's the end of the day.
Yeah. Unfortunately, was the pinball in that one was Donald Teege, and that is going to end his day early. And there is the critical path security number 28 of Ryan Vargas, once again back down pit lane. And the crew has a lot of tools out, and the car is up on jack stands, so wasn't just an electrical issue under the dash. It looks like a bigger problem than that.
No, a little off topic. Good look on the drone shot there, the pool in turn 2 as well. I remember I was just a toddler running around in that thing, so it's pretty cool to see. There's still people there.
Yeah, for sure. And there is the 39 of Alex Gannett, probably the driver who is the happiest to see this caution flag come out because he is being put into the free pass position. This will hurt his track position, but it gets him back on the lead lap. As soon as the field starts to line up 2 by 2, that is when the 39 gets released, and he'll have to make his way all the way around the track. And when you've got a track that's about 1.5 miles in length, takes you a while to get up there. So he's hoping for another quick caution, and then he can tag back onto the tail of the field. But good news for that team. They've made the sway bar repair, and again, he's being put back on the lead lap by virtue of this caution. Benoit Couture in the 75 also getting some needed repairs after that car came to a stop just off of turn number 3, drawing our second caution of the day. And Couture getting back in that one. He'll have to get strapped back in.
I would say that Alex Gannett is definitely not out of this at all. I mean, we've really struggled to get into a rhythm since like that first green flag run that we had. So cautions have certainly been breathing cautions, and he could be right back up there, potentially take advantage of a tire stop if we get another caution right after this one. And I mean, really anything can happen. We've been seeing a lot of aggression already, and we've just now kind of ventured into the second half of this one where guys are really going to start to turn up the heat.
Yeah, 34 laps in, 26 to go here in the Rousseau Medal 60 here at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres. So there is still a lot of racing left to be played out. And if history tells us anything, the NASCAR Canada Series here at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres tends to really ratchet up the aggression level in the final 10 laps or so. If you're within striking distance of the car in front of you, there's a good chance there's going to be contact. You're going to force the issue.
Yeah, especially when we have a lot of fast cars too, right? I mean, Andrew Ranger's still leading the field here, but the 96 has been in tow. He set the track record yesterday, so that piece has definitely got some speed, and he's been right there. I think he's maybe been just kind of biding his time a lot. Hadn't had a lot of green flag laps to really make a move. Then you got the 47 LP Dumoulin in third too. We could see him making a move right off the start and trying to get that track position.
There you see some repairs to the E-Racer number 1 of JP Bergeron as he's down and away. Lots of tape on the nose of that car, trying to keep it down. But some of the other drivers we saw playing a little strategy game include the 74 of Kevin Lacroix, Matthew Kingsbury, and JF Dumoulin. JF Dumoulin got some tires. You see the two cars weaving back and forth. The Napa number 74 of Kevin Lacroix and the 04 of JF Dumoulin. So they have fresh General tires, and they're continuing to work their way up through the field. Right now, sitting 14th and 15th. Let's head down pit side and check in with Todd as the field works its way towards the Pinty's restart zone.
Yeah, they are hoping for a big charge from the 74 of Kevin Lacroix. He's got his fuel, he's got his tires. Now it's up to the drivers. We get ready for green flag action here again at GP3R.
And once again, the two GM Paillet cars door handle to door handle as they cross the stripe and we get back to green. Oh, there's a bit of a mess. Gary Clute has to push way out in turn number 1. He might even be off the pace a little bit. Now he grabs the gear, but he's lost a ton of space on the track. Daryl Timmers was out wide as well, lost a couple positions in the number 85, but a logjam coming through the Duplessis gates.
The aggression level has definitely ramped up here. We would want to just get into a rhythm. We haven't got many green flag laps in, but it looks like these guys are trying to take advantage as well. Everyone's stacked up as the 59 of Gary Clute gets in really deep into turn 6 there, is able to grab 1, maybe 2 positions.
Yeah, Vittorio Girelli in the number 50, the Rousseau Metals Festidrag back Chevrolet is the one who was swallowed up by the Autologic number 59. Can you see the steam coming out of the driver's compartment of the 59 of Gary Clute? He is not happy right now, and he has to roll up his sleeves and get back moving up to the front. He took that restart in 4th spot, and I believe it was contact with the number 85 of Daryl Timmers, who's debuting a Kendall Hills Supply sponsor in a brand new livery here this weekend. Timmers may have made contact with the Autologic number 59, and that's what caused that incident in turn number 1.
Yeah, it looked like the 59 just got a little bit outside of the rubber after contact with the 85. And once you get a little bit of outside of it, it's really hard to keep onto it after you got all the dirt, the marble out there. So really good job keeping it straight. And I'm definitely going to be aggressive here now.
Oh, he will be too. He's sitting in the 13th spot the last time they crossed the stripe, chasing the 37 of Simon Zion-Vienne. And there you can see Daryl Timmers. There's Alex LeBay ducking to the inside of the recap recovery drink number 92 of Dexter Stacy and trying to drag along the number 9 of Matthew Kingsbury as well. This at the front, though, the two GM Paillet cars, the 27 of Andrew Ranger. And is he showing a little smoke? Did I see a puff? Under acceleration off of turn number 9. We'll keep an eye on that as they work around the 75 of Benoit Couture.
The 96 of Marc-Antoine Cameron just looks like that car is handling so well. It looks like he's getting through the corners really good. You can see that he doesn't have to use as much wheel input as the 27 of Andrew Ranger to get that car turning. So I kind of feel like the 96 might just be sizing up the 27 a little bit here. But no doubt these two are the class of the field right now.
So any smoke that we did see was just a one-time thing. It doesn't seem to be lasting behind the 27 of Andrew Ranger. There is LP Dumoulin sitting in 3rd in the WeatherTech Dodge, and the Trois-Rivieres Lions number 7 of Raphael Lassard has made a great charge up through this field. Starting in 7th and now runs inside the top 5, just ahead of DJ Kennington. Sam Fellows, don't count him out, in 6th spot in the AER backed entry. And then Daryl Timmers, Alex LeBay, Matthew Kingsbury, and JF Dumoulin round out your top 10.
The entire field just ran their fast lap of the race last time around here, so no doubt the pace is picking up a little bit. These guys know that we're heading into the last 20 laps here soon, so definitely no guaranteed cautions and just trying to keep that track position.
This is great at the front, though. It is just a cat and mouse game, and the cat in this case is the 96 of Marc-Antoine Cameron, but the mouse wants to keep outrunning the claws of the kid behind him, and Andrew Ranger is just knuckling down and trying to stretch a gap, but he just can't do it.
Yeah, it looks like Andrew really has to wheel that thing right now. He's been sideways through a lot of these corners, but still fast. See him wobble around into turn 6 there. He's hard on the brakes. You got to make 2 downshifts there as well at the same time. So that's a tough corner for sure. You're hard on the brakes, making the shifts, and then bouncing around just because of all the character in the track.
And you talked about it. You said the 27 doesn't appear to be sticking to the racetrack quite as good as the 96, and there was a perfect example of that coming off of turn number 6. Andrew Ranger under power. The back end started to walk a little bit. The 96 did not, and it just glued itself to the racetrack, and that is allowing the 96 of Marc-Antoine Cameron to save those General tires a little bit longer, but also turn in some pretty quick laps.
Yeah, it really looked like the 96 of Marc-Antoine Cameron might have just been sizing up the 27 a little bit, but 27 here is starting to get a little bit more of a gap, 1 to 2 car lengths. The 96 was kind of just pushing them around the track before then. It's been really tough to see because we haven't had really any long green flag runs to see how these cars react and how hard they are on these General tires, but it looks like the 27 might have some good pace as we get into a rhythm.
Saw a good shot of the hometown son, the 47 of LP Dumoulin in third in the WeatherTech Dodge, but that's a good passing opportunity. It is passed for Marc-Antoine Cameron. Remember, he was surprised by the 80 of Alex Tagliani earlier in this race going into turn number 9. Not going to return the favor this time to Andrew Ranger. And we should mention, despite having the same sponsor and participating in the same livery reveal earlier this weekend, they are not teammates. They don't operate out of the same team, which always makes for a good comparison between the two teams. Those teams independently of each other want to beat each other every single time on the track.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough one for sure, right? They're teammates, but they're they come in at a different shop at the same time. So definitely makes it exciting. Potentially, a little bit of a friendly rivalry between the two, sure. And they're both the class of the field right now. So both Paillet cars really lead the field, and don't forget the 17 of DJ Kennington is 5th right now as well. So a really good day for him going as well. Just trying to capture as many points as he can, and right now where the 96 and the 17 is running, he really won't be losing that many spots to the 96 as they go.
Yeah, points so important. The 96 does have that bonus point for leading a lap earlier on in this race. DJ Kennington has yet to pace the field in the 17, but they came in separated by just 3 points. And for DJ Kennington going up against Marc-Antoine Cameron at a place like this, it's just limit the damage that you're going to do, and a top 5 would do exactly that, as Kennington sits in behind Raphael Lessard in 5th, Sam Fellows sitting in behind in 6th spot.
It looks like the 27 Ranger really gets down the front stretch well, and that can be a combination of many different things. Obviously his drive off of turn 10 is good, but these guys, we mentioned they don't come out of the same shop. That means they could have different rear end ratios, they could have different transmission ratios, and that's what plays into this. That's why we'll see some guys be better in certain parts of the tracks. That's something that we had to pay a lot of attention to when we were racing here as well. We knew that running certain transmission ratios would be better somewhere and maybe give up a little bit elsewhere. But it looks like Marc-Antoine Cameron really gets into turn 6 good, which could be, an advantage of his package.
Yeah, he took a look on the inside of the 27 of Andrew Ranger that time and got a little wonky as the car bounced under braking, but Cameron hung on to it, decided to fall in single file behind the 27 of Andrew Ranger. But I think things are going to start getting a little bit more aggressive at the front of the field. There is the 47 of LP Dumoulin, Raphael Lessard, and the 17 of DJ Kennington. And LeBay once again running in 8th spot. Let's head down pit side once again and check in with our Todd Lewis once again. Todd?
We checked in with all of the different teams at the front. The 27 of Andrew Ranger, Etienne Cliche said they're pretty comfortable. They feel very confident. They're in good shape. It gets a little hot when you're under yellow, but everything is good. They're fine for fuel, not worried about it. Everybody's on the same program there. The 96 of Marc-Antoine Cameron, well, they're just trying to be patient, of course, because, they are sort of the team cars, as Trayton has talked about. They're trying to be patient, don't want to do anything too aggressive, still have a few laps left. And don't forget about that 47 car of LP Dumoulin. Also feeling pretty good. Again, trying to make sure you save some brakes for the end of this race. Still a long way to go.
And there you can see Robin McCluskey. He is the crew chief for the 96, Marc-Antoine Cameron, shielding his eyes from the sun as the field flashes by in front of him. And remember, talking about third and fourth, LP Dumoulin and Raphael Lessard, they had a dynamite finish here last year for the final step on the podium. Both of them tearing the bodies off their race cars, coming to the line, but it's exciting for the fans.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point that Todd made as well. Maybe the 47 might not have the raw speed.
Oh, this is problems. The 50, Vittorio Girelli, the visiting driver from Italy, has big problems. Caution is out with 17 to go, and the driver is getting out in a hurry. You can see he's staring at flames coming out from underneath the hood of the Rousseau Metals Festi Drag number 50. He's not happy, obviously, but the good news is he is okay. Now looking for a fire extinguisher, and that's a problem because there's no official on that side, so this fire is going to burn unchecked just for a little bit as the field now under a full course caution. And there you can see something went up on that car, and last time across the stripe, I believe he had fallen off the pace at that point because he was listed down in 23rd spot. He was running with the thick of the pack. He was running about midfield, was Vittorio Girelli. And again, this is part of the NASCAR Canada Series, and they're going to try and get it from the other side of the fence. At least they can do that. Get a little bit, but they're trying to get that fire taken care of as we continue under caution here at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres. The driver is out and is okay. We'll take a quick break here on Rev TV. And welcome back to the Grand Prix of Trois-Rivieres as we continue under caution. And the reason is for that car on the left-hand side of your screen, the 50. Girelli went up in flames, sadly, and big damage to the front end of that car. But the emergency crew got there relatively quickly and got that fire put out, but unfortunately his day will be done. Now they're just going to take a look at it, make sure that fire's not going to spark back up. There you see the driver of the 50, Vittorio Girelli, who's part of a driver swap with NASCAR Europe, and yeah, he was pretty quick to get out of that car, but make his way back to his pit stall, obviously unhappy with the way his day played out.
Yeah, man, I'd be getting out of there really quick too if I saw fire come through the cowl like that. No, but really unfortunate to see his day end like this. You know, a really cool program, obviously, with the driver swap between him and Raphael Lessard, and you know, I hope he enjoyed it for what it was, though. You know, being on the NASCAR Canada Series circuit with GP3R, a really cool event to come out to.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see if he makes the jump across the ocean once again, maybe at another opportunity to try things out, potentially at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Again, nothing confirmed, but we've always found drivers from different disciplines who join this series always get out of the car and say, these things are so much fun to drive.
They're so heavy and so much power. It's a lot different from things that most drivers are accustomed to, especially on the road racing side of things. We see these lighter sports cars with a lot of power, but they handle really good, and that's something that the NASCAR Canada Series that they don't quite have that in common. They're big, bulky, and they jump around a lot.
Well, and it puts it back in the hands of the driver. It's not all setup based. So setup does make a big difference. You want to nail that down as best you can, but essentially it's up to the driver to muscle their way around a track like this one here at Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres. And that's what makes it exciting as the field works its way past that incident site off of the outside of turn number 10, and the driver who was involved in that is standing by with our Todd Lewis pit side. Todd?
Happy to see Vittorio Girelli out of the car. How much fun were you having up until the flames started, at least?
I mean, it was very good. I was saving the brakes. We had a good strategy and an early stop, and I was running, I think, in top 10, which is amazing for the team. And I still had kept up a lot of brakes and tires. I didn't, push a lot. So I think in the end we could attack even more. But the throttle pedal broke completely, so I was with no power. And I think with all the heat, the car caught fire. I had to jump out very quickly. I ripped off all the water system and stuff because there was a lot of heat already, and with the fire it was even more. But yeah, it's a pity because I wanted to finish this race. It's amazing to be here in Canadian Series, and yeah, can't thank enough Euro Series for making this happen, and the partners, sponsors, Rousseau Metal and Fast Drag TV. Hope I will come back next time. You never know.
We hope to see you back again, and glad to see you're all right. Thanks, Vittorio.
2024 NASCAR Euro Series champion, and had an issue in qualifying where the driver net didn't get up properly, so he had to get called back down pit lane. So he said, I have a lot more left in me after qualifying. I didn't lay down my best lap, and he was looking forward to the race. And as he mentioned, he was running just outside the top 10 at the time of that incident, but he had a day to remember for sure.
Yeah, it's cool to hear him talk about his experience there. He was obviously very cognizant of the fact that he had to save the brakes and had to save the tires, and it seemed like he was poised to probably end up driving up inside the top 10 at the end when it was all said and done.
You can see some bad damage to the back of the 50, so a little bit of the rough and tumble that he was expecting to happen here in the NASCAR Canada Series obviously did happen for the 50. So we hope Vittorio Girelli enjoyed his experience here in the NASCAR Canada Series, and unfortunately his car has seen better days. It gets pulled up onto the rollback here just before turn number 11 as we move on to the front straightaway. And yeah, he mentioned it's a very hot day, and then you add the flames to the car too. But importantly, if we just focused on the very hot day and how warm it is for the driver, and as he mentioned, like it was hot already. And so now 13 laps to go. Some of these drivers could be starting to feel it.
It is, and as we talked about, the red flag doesn't help at all, because that's just, you're just sitting there getting soaked in heat, no AC system at the time, no air flowing through the car whatsoever. And it's the same thing under caution too. Cautions are a little bit better, but you're so hyper focused on the heat when you're not focused on driving. So it's yeah, we got 13 laps to go here, as if we haven't already had an exciting race to begin with. Now we stack them all up pretty much just for a sprint right to the finish.
Talk about the cold suits that some of these drivers would be wearing. He talked about the water system that got pulled out as he jumped out of the car fairly quickly. That's attached to something that's underneath the race suit to keep these drivers comfortable.
It is, yeah. So a cool suit, essentially, it's a box in the car that distributes colder water. It filters the water, cools it the entire time, puts it through a suit that you're wearing underneath your race suit, and keeps your torso cold. And then also all drivers that will have a cool box for their helmet as well, so blowing cold and filtered air through the helmet. It helps a lot. I haven't had the luxuries of trying the cool suit yet, but the helmet fan helps. I mean, when it's so hot like this, anything is going to help a little bit. But at the same time, when it gets so hot and it's just so hot outside, so hot in the car, it's a 60-lap race, it's really long. It just you start just to not even realize it at this point. So I'm sure a lot of the drivers are feeling it, a lot of fatigue, but a lot of excitement to run this thing out and, see who's going to end up in victory lane.
Yeah, you can see some of the drivers poking a hand out the window, trying to direct some airflow back into the driver's compartment. So even that little bit helps, as you saw Kevin Lacroix, one of the drivers, doing that as we continue to click off laps here under caution as the cleanup is just about done. The flatbed has taken the 50 of Vittorio Girelli off the racetrack, and they'll do a quick sweep up there in turn number 10, the outside of turn number 10. And we'll get back to things under green, and we can tell you that Dexter Stacey, a couple laps down in the 92, will be in the free pass position, so he'll get one of those laps back. But still 21 cars on the lead lap. Serge Bordeaux is in 21st, the last of the lead lap cars. We'll take you through the top 10 running order if you haven't spotted it on the ticker across the top of your screen. Andrew Ranger leads Marc-Antoine Cameron, LP Dumoulin, Raphael Lessard, and DJ Kennington. That's your top 5. That's a good look, though, at Alex Tagliani. And if you watched the start of this race and had to run out, I don't know, do some gardening or something else, but you're like, what happened to the 80 car? Well, he had a big issue with what appeared to be an oil line. It looked like an engine failure at some point, but he dumped all the oil down around the track and onto pit lane. They got that car repaired and back out, which is great news for owner points, not great news for Alex Tagliani. He's in 24th position, but he is 6 laps down to your race leader.
Sam Fellows in 6th, followed by Daryl Timmers in 7th. Great runs for the both of them so far. And then we have Alex Lebay in 8th. I feel like Alex has kind of just been lurking. JF Dumoulin in 9th. JF's got those fresh tires, so that's going to be really cool to see him alongside Kevin Lacroix, who's also got the fresh tires too. So we'll see if they can make their way up here in these final 11 laps as we go green here.
Chevrolet pace car heads down pit lane once again. It is the 2 GM Paillet Chevrolet entries of Andrew Ranger and Marc-Antoine Cameron. There's turn 10. They'll have one more kink of turn number 11, and they will get onto the front straightaway. More importantly, into the Pinty's restart zone as the green flag waves, and we're back underway. A lot of bumping going into turn number 1. This time everybody stays relatively straight, or do they, as Cameron lost a couple of spots. Dumoulin gets by, and it looks like DJ Kennington trying to take advantage on the outside of turn number 3. That's
3 wide for the gates here.
And they made it. They made it all through, believe it or not. A little bit of rubbing and bumping, but everybody made it through with all wheels pointed in the same direction. Lessard with a big lockup to the inside of the 17 of DJ Kennington. The 87 of Sam Fellows, some damage to the nose of that car. He'll actually have some trouble seeing over that bent up cowl, and we got a mess up in turn number 6. That's Forte. The bumper-to-bumper number 3 of Alexandre Forte stepped in the outside tire wall as LeBay looks to the inside of the 87 of Fellows. Fellows playing a little bit of damage control and holding off that challenge. But out in front is the 27 of Andrew Ranger, and full course caution with 10 to go. Oh boy, this is going to set up a dramatic run to the finish as we talked about the late race cautions and what they can do here at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres. Forte is out and moving, but how he sees anything, I have no idea. Oh, and he's putting debris all over the back straightaway. So Forte will take the bumper-to-bumper Chevrolet back down pit lane, and we'll take another quick breather. You're watching live NASCAR Canada Series action here on Rev TV. And welcome back to the Rousseau Medal 60 here at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres. The Team 3 crew goes to work on the front end of Alexandre Fortin, so the former champion of the Nissan Sentra Cup, who came to a rest up against the tire wall in turn number 6, will likely see his day end differently than he anticipated here today. It's likely not going to take him out of this one. It was just a lot of body damage, but we continue under a full course caution. And you saw a number of drivers jockeying for position. One of them is Marc-Antoine Cameron. The 17 of DJ Kennington also was looking for a place to fall into line, and that's because we did have some turmoil off the restart.
Yeah, I mean, that could have been a lot worse for the 96 of Marc-Antoine Cameron. Looked like he might have got shoved a little bit out of the racing groove into turn 1, got into the marbles a bit, and then I think the 47 stuck his nose in there a little bit and had the 96 all sorts of sideways. It was able to bring it back. So then we also had some 3-wide racing through the gates there. So, you know, a lot of times you can't make 2 cars work, let alone 3, but hey, they made it through a little bit of pushing and shoving, but that's all right.
They did sort of. We got to say sort of, because one of those 3 cars was the Duro King number 9 of Matthew Kingsbury, and he's got a fender sort of hanging off that car. So if it's only a fender, it's not a big deal. But NASCAR will keep an eye on that flapping piece of equipment as they work to continue the cleanup down the chute into turn number 7 off of turn number 6, and that's where the 3 of Fortin was headed back down pit lane. There you can see, and that's a good view of what we've been talking about all day. Those are the brake cooling hoses to get air to the brakes.
Yeah, so 3 brake ducts per side. They'll all have fans attached to them. So, you know, on ovals where brake fade isn't too much of an issue most times, we'll actually use those brake fans as a sort of an adjustment to cool one side or the other, mess with the front stagger a little bit, but at the road course, especially Trois-Rivieres here where brake fade is such a prominent issue, they'll have them running full go all the time and just trying to keep as much air to the brakes as possible.
You saw the 37 of Simon Dion-Vienne he doesn't have to worry about brake cooling at all. He doesn't have a nose on the front of that Dodge anymore. The Duclos number 37 has a wide open front end. Another driver way out towards the wall as we had.
Looked like the 9 of Matthew Kingsbury. You mentioned there with the
he's
fender.
trying to get the
Might be
fender
trying to
off.
knock the fender off, yeah. Yeah, so NASCAR will actually make him come down pit road and sacrifice his track position if they feel like a piece of his car could potentially fly off. You'll have debris on the track and cause another caution. So, interesting tactic there.
But if it falls off during this caution, he won't have to give up any track position at all, because it's not going to affect anything else. So, yeah, interesting to see the number 9 trying to rub what's left of that fender on. There's still a lot hanging on to that one. He's going to have to really rub the wall hard. We have 8 laps to go. That is important to note. And Andrew Ranger is your race leader. LP Dumoulin running in second. Marc-Antoine Cameron pushed back to third. Lassard and Kennington round out your top 5. And there you can see the work continues on the front end of the 3 of Alexandre Fortin. Let's head pit side and check in with our Todd Lewis once again. Todd?
They are continuing to make sure that the tires are pointed in the right direction on that 3 car. That's the biggest concern. A lot of that fiberglass and metal is just cosmetic, so a lot of bungee cords, some tape will undoubtedly be used as well to make sure that it is all secure. But if they want to make sure that the tires are pointed in the right direction, they're thinking it's a little askew right now, but under caution, they've got lots of time on these caution laps. You're already behind the 8 ball, so may as well take the time, clear up the brake hoses, and see if you can get out and get a little more experience.
Yeah, and aerodynamics not really a big issue here at a place like Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres. It's not like it would be at CTMP.
Yeah, you know, it mattered a little bit through that long backstretch there. You know, obviously not as long as the Mara Andretti straightaway there. You know, it could definitely have a bit of an impact, but at the same time, he's just hoping to get that thing back out there. You know, maybe sacrifice a couple positions for owner points for the 3, and try and get some more experience. So really anything could happen here as we go green with under 7 laps to go. It's been crazy already, and now we just get another chance to stack them back up again.
And that is important for these young drivers too, who are looking to make a career now into the NASCAR Canada Series, jumping up from support series. It's all about getting seat time, finding out how these cars react differently to what they're used to driving. And when you go from a front-wheel drive Nissan Sentra Cup with limited horsepower into a beast like this one with huge horsepower rear-wheel drive, the learning curve is fairly steep.
It looks like he got the full experience today. So, hopefully they get it back out there, and you can see it's kind of the same situation as the 9 of Matthew Kingsbury. We have the NASCAR official looking over and just trying to make sure everything is secure on that car, as Todd mentioned. They don't want to risk him sending him back out onto the track, spreading more debris, and having to throw another caution.
So the driver who's going to get the free pass when we do eventually go back to green will be the 80 of Alex Tagliani. This will not put him back on the lead lap, though. He'll still have 8 more laps to get back in order to get put back on the lead lap. So that'll take more than a few cautions. But again, we talked about owner points, and this is good for that, to try and pick up a few more positions. Remember Alex Guinnett. Now, he was the driver who did get put back on the lead lap during the last caution. He is back up into 12th position. And you mentioned that. He's not out of this one, and he is really not out of this one with 7 laps to go.
Not at all. These lengthy cautions definitely don't help him because it takes away time where he can get track position under green. But at the same time, he's been able to stay clear of all this havoc so far, and able to work himself almost back into the top 10. So there's no doubt that 39 car's got speed, and we're going to come around and click another lap under caution. So the guy that really benefits from this is the 27 of Andrew Ranger. He's obviously fast, but he's got 2 really hungry drivers behind him, the 47 LP Dumoulin, the 96 of Marc-Antoine Cameron. And these are just less laps that he has to defend under green. Maybe give the opportunity for the brakes to cool down, tires to cool down a little bit, and really go hard as we come into the last 5 laps.
And we talked about the scenario of pit stops and how that might work out. It looks like a black flag is getting set to be shown potentially to someone here, not this time. But we talked about pit strategies and how that could work out, and the potential that if the cards were laid down in a certain order, that we might see a late race pit stop, somebody going to grab some general tires. I don't think that's going to happen this time around, because you've got 20 cars still on the lead lap, and Matthew Kingsbury will be the last car on the lead lap. So he was likely called in to take off that fender, so why not grab some general tires?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, the 2 cars that we know for sure on the 4 tires are the 04 of JF Dumoulin and the 74 of Kevin Lacroix. They're sitting 9th and 10th, which, they've kind of got that track position, but at the same time, when we get so many cautions and not enough green flag laps, it really doesn't allow them to use their advantage of having that fresh rubber.
So Kingsbury in 20th came into this one sitting 6th in points, 20 points out of the lead. There is your points leader, the Castrol Dodge of DJ Kennington. Second is the number 96, Marc-Antoine Cameron. And you can see the free pass car being released as the lights will go off on the Chevrolet pace car this time around. So it'll be Andrew Ranger and now the 47 of LP Dumoulin, and a very hungry number 96 of Marc-Antoine Cameron right behind.
And this is really interesting because we've only seen the 96 restarting on the outside of Andrew Ranger, which doesn't give him the opportunity to make that move into turn 1. So now the 96 is right on the inside line there behind Ranger. He's been really good under braking, so we'll try and see if he's going to take advantage of that.
How about Sam Fellows, though, in the AER Polysleep number 87, and Daryl Timmers in the 85 with Kendall Hills Supply and Switch Tire on board. They're both inside the top 10, having a dream drive here at the GP3R, and we get into the Pinty's restart zone. What will happen as we land rush into turn number 1? Oh, Cameron locked it up on the inside. That allows the 47 of Dumoulin to drive around outside into turn number 2. Dumoulin and Cameron make contact.
The 47 LP Dumoulin, he had the preferred line through turns 2 and 3. More contact. 96 put sideways.
96 and the 17 got caught up together. I think they avoided the wall. On the exit of turn number 3, they did, but Kennington lost a ton of track position. Look at the gaggle of cars behind them. Remember, there's 5 laps to go. There's Gannett, a crumpled hood on the 87 of Sam Fellows as well. They make contact into turn number 6. J.F. Dumoulin just ahead of Alex LeBay. Somehow he made it through all of that unscathed. All the while, Andrew Ranger has opened up a lead at the front. Boy, look at the damage to the cars in this thick of battle. Now Clute in there as Simon Thionvien gets into the back of the one of J.P. Bergeron.
Andrew Ranger crossing line with almost a 2-second advantage.
That is a huge lead right now for Andrew Ranger as he continues at the front now with 4 laps to go. Cameron has a little bit of fiberglass flapping in the wind behind the Paillet, number 96. But he is chasing the 47 of LP Dumoulin.
We know the 96 has the speed, but he's just got to make quick work of the 47 car. I'm sure we're going to see him dive to the inside through turn 6 here.
Dumoulin's done too many laps here to let him go, and that's big problems for Sam Fellows. And you can see the entire front end of that race car is buckled up. We have 4 laps to go. There is a runoff area now. Caution. I was going to say if he could just get to the outside of turn number 2, he might be able to park it and we stay green. But this end, the 96 managed to get around the 47. So was the caution out before that pass was made? That is going to be the big question. I don't think it was. Or I think the pass was not made. And so I believe
debris everywhere.
Oh, yeah. I believe the 47 will get that spot back, but we'll have to see. Yeah, look at this mess. So it looks at whatever happened to Sam Fellows happened in turn number 9. There's pieces of his brake hoses, and he did find that runoff area in turn number 2. It comes to a rest. You can see some fluid down behind the Polysleep AER number 87. But that's such a bummer for a great drive for that team, as they're only running a partial schedule here in 2025, and again poised for a top 10 finish, mixing it up with some of the greats here in the NASCAR Canada Series. And Sam Fellows taking his gloves off and unbuckling. His day is done.
A lot of contact following that restart there. I saw the hood pushed up on the 87 car, and I think it just compounded, got worse and worse. It was getting beat up. Everyone was stacked up into turn 8 there, and there was more contact, so I really hate to see it. We see fenders pretty much flying off everyone here. There's not a lot of clean race cars. That 27 leading the field, he might have one of the cleanest ones of them all.
Yeah, but for how much longer? As he's going to have to defend once again another restart. Andrew Ranger, the driver from Roxton Pond, Quebec, has visited victory lane 4 times before, and there you can see disappointment all over the face of Sam Fellows.
Definitely not what Andrew Ranger wanted to see. He had a 2-second lead there when we crossed the line the last time, and it's pretty much at a point where he was just going to be coasting home from then. The 96 obviously fast, but not sure if he was fast enough to close that 2-second lap or 2-second gap in only the 4 laps there.
Yeah, that is huge, and you can see Sam is out and he's okay, and that is good news, and no doubt just really hot. And likely hot at another driver as he walks out to the racetrack. But there's the cleanup crew scrambling over the wall as they made quick work of all that debris off of turn number 9. Have another look at what happened. There is Sam Fellows. Oh, it was Gannett who made contact off of. Did he make contact, or did Sam Fellows just get loose under acceleration?
Yeah, it looked like Gannett might have gotten to the left rear there. That's a tough place to hit. There's not much give in those walls at all.
There's no tire wall on that concrete on the inside, or I guess the inside of turn number 9, and then towards the turn 10 area. Yeah, we've seen some pretty big hits there in the past. You remember the 2 Dumoulin brothers made contact with each other in the dying laps of one race a few years ago, the 04 and the 47, making contact with each other and taking both of those cars out of that race, and this time it is Sam Fellows who touches the concrete in between turns 9 and 10. His day is done.
Definitely feel for Sam on this one. Sam's only running a partial schedule, the road races, and had such a good run going too. So, that's disappointing, especially when you're not in for the full season. You got to make the most of the runs that you do have. So, luckily for Sam, we do still have the next race at CTMP coming up in September there.
Circuit I-Cars, the next race. Yeah.
Will be another great one for Sam. So a couple good opportunities, but still disappointing to tear up a race car like that, especially when he was having such a good run.
Yeah, Circuit I-Car, that might be a big task to get that car back into racing shape. Before we go to the next stop at Circuit I-Car just outside of Montreal, you can see the 80 of Alex Tagliani getting another one of his laps back. So he'll get the wave around to see free pass cards. It seems to be a little bit early before we go back to grain. There you can see likely the oil cooler was smashed up on the 87 of Sam Fellows. A lot of oil and fluid dripping out of that car. That's in the runoff area, so that's okay. It can leak all it wants over there.
Tag's only 5 laps down. At this rate, he might get back on the lead lap. We'll have to see. We only have 2 laps to go. We're going to be in NASCAR overtime here, but he might not be done. This might not be it even after this restart. These guys are going to be extremely aggressive. It looks like the 47 did get his spot back past Mark-Antoine Cameron.
He did get the spot back for sure. So the way NASCAR timing and scoring works, and there's still some debris here on the front straightaway, so they'll have to get that tidied up before we do go back to green, because as we see, they spread out and they'll use every inch of that front straightaway going towards turn number 1. But the way NASCAR timing and scoring works, and the drivers are told this in the drivers' meeting, is that the entire, they call it the snake, the entire field has to cross the start-finish line in order for that lap to count. And so if the leader to even top 5 go across the start-finish line and the caution is thrown, you go back to the last fully completed lap, and that's how your positions are set. So if you're a Marc-Antoine Cameron fan and you say, wait a second, he was past him, well, the way the rules work is that DJ Kennington had that spot when they crossed the stripe, and that's why he's getting it back in before this restart.
I think Marc-Antoine Cameron would probably prefer where he is right now. It gives him another shot at the inside. It's tough to make it around the outside at turn 1 there. Like we've mentioned, if he is able to, it gives him the inside through turn 2 and turn 3, but it gives him another shot at overtaking the 27 in turn 1, which it looked like he was really close to trying it there on that last restart. He got into it, then maybe thought better of it, locked up the brakes, and really came to bite him after that. But now he's got a little better idea of what's going to happen, maybe a little better idea of when Ranger's going to go, give him a potential opportunity at getting a better start and making that move into turn 1.
Of course, I mentioned DJ Kennington. It is the 47 of LP Dumoulin who swapped positions with the 96 of Marc-Antoine Cameron. But once again, we take a look at the top 5. Daryl Timmers, once again, sitting inside the top 5. And again, a driver who doesn't get many starts, still considered a rookie out of Whitby, Ontario, but in a position in that 85 car. So that is a car that's prepared out of the Larry Jackson shop, but with the help of Tooth Autosport. And if you're a big fan of sports car racing here in Canada, you will know the name Tooth Autosport. It's Trevor and Travis Hill who do a great job operating out of the Calabogie Motorsport complex, and they've come on board as a partner on that team, helping out Daryl Timmers. And again, Timmers gathering up some new sponsorship this year with Rack.ca, Kendall Hills Supply, and Switch Tire, and giving them all a great showing here at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres. There's Simon Zion Vienne, and yeah, he had to come down pit lane, and they had to pull some of that fiberglass off that Duclos number 37. So he was inside the top 15. He'll drop down to 19th spot. So he'll lose only a couple of positions, as we will be into NASCAR overtime, as 60 laps have been completed. And so it will be a green-white checker when we go back to green. But looking down through the running order, Kyle Steckley, we talked about him in the 22. And he's up to 13th position. Larry Jackson has kept a pretty clean car in that Superior Propane, number 84, in 15th spot. So having a decent day. Dominic Scrivo in 17th. So all of these drivers who've sort of been lurking towards the tail, just avoiding anything that's happening on the track, are going to end up with a pretty decent day here in the Rousseau Metals 60. Let's get an update before we head back to green here in the green-white checkered and check in once again with a Pinty's Pit Report and Todd Lewis.
96 is pretty comfortable right now. He's pursuing the 27. We'll try to do so carefully. Obviously, he'd like the victory. That's the 47 of LP Dumoulin that is in between those two, and they're not sure that the 47 car is as quick as the 27 or the 96, but getting around him, of course, with only a short time to do it will be a bit of a challenge. DJ Kennington, Dave, as you mentioned, got caught up. He's lost a little bit of track position. Let's mention the 36 of Alex Labbé as well. He had to serve a penalty earlier for a pit stop violation, and that was a drive-through, but now he's back in the fight as well, a little further back as we're getting set for green.
Into the Pinty's restart zone, and again it is a green-white checker. The green flies, and we're back underway. What a start for Andrew Ranger in the 27. He did what he needed to do in the GM Paille number 27. Now the 96 of Marc-Antoine Cameron to the outside of the 47. They will make contact in turn number 2. Daryl Timmers got a bump from Raphael Lessard. He loses a spot. Now he's going to lose 2.
The 96 clears the 47. That's big heading down the back straightaway here.
Everybody else filters through the Duplessis gates, and we go single file down Boulevard du Carmel, the backstretch here at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres. J.F. Dumoulin holding off the 85 of Daryl Timmers, the 17 of DJ Kennington. There's Gary Clute. He'll make his way underneath the 36 of Alex Labbé and bring along a crowd with him. So that puts Clute up inside the top 10, but it's the 2 GM Paille cars at the front. The 27 of Andrew Ranger, the 96 of Marc-Antoine Cameron. Does Cameron have enough left to close the gap and make a pass? Catching is one thing, passing is another, and he's got few opportunities left with the white flag flying.
I think the best opportunity for Marc-Antoine Cameron is definitely going into turn 6 at the end of the back straightaway. The question is, can he get close enough? 27 Andrew Ranger has a 4 to 5 car length gap heading into turn 1.
Yeah, it was 7/10 of a second the last time they crossed the stripe. Now Ranger in through turn number 3. They'll head towards the back straightaway. Will he play defense and hug the inside lane? Or will he hit his marks like he's been doing for so many laps before? This is Cameron's opportunity. He won't take it. He's not close enough. Ooh, but Ranger got loose on exit. Turn number 9 presents another opportunity. This is turn 7. And Clute goes around. Some damage to the back end of the Autologic number 59. He was in the thick of battle. But now through
96 has a shot.
Yes, he does. He's right there. Cameron. It's close, but he can't quite make a move. Andrew Ranger has won it in 2008, 2009, 2010, and 2012. And once again, Andrew Ranger, a winner here at the Grand Prix of Trois-Rivieres. Marc-Antoine Cameron will follow him home, followed by LP Dumoulin. And Raphael Lessard with JF Dumoulin in the 04 coming home inside the top 5. But you heard Ranger talking with Todd off the top of the show. He said, we've been fast here in the past, we just haven't had the luck. Boy, he had it today.
What a run by the 27 Andrew Ranger. He was able to take advantage of the track position early. He got out front. He was able to maintain. He puts it in victory lane.
If you've watched some NASCAR Canada Series clips and highlights from here at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres, one of the main ones is a finish between Andrew Ranger and Kerry Mix way back in 2008 when Andrew Ranger drove over the hood of Kerry Mix. He didn't have to do that here today, but he drove over the rest of the field en route to victory. Just a fabulous performance for that number 27 team. holding off a very fast Marc-Antoine Cameron, who will take over the points lead by virtue of his second place finish.
Yeah, DJ kept it close though, but yeah, the 96 going to take over the points lead. Obviously, that is a lot of momentum for him heading into ICAR and then CTMP after that as well. So good, clean finish. I mean, the 96 had a shot at him through turn 8 to turn 9, just couldn't quite get close to him, and the 27's been fast all day, obviously.
I was surprised to not see a little bit of bumper tag, but the 96, of course, has been involved in some controversial finishes here in 2025, so no doubt he had that top of mind as well and decided to just back off a little bit and come home in second. And I don't even know if he was quite close enough. It would have been a dive bomb if he was going to do anything.
Yeah, and he did what he needed to do. He knew that he was ahead of the 17 car, which at the end of the day, the championship is what they're looking for. Is the 27 of Andrew Ranger is going to grab that checkered flag and salute the Quebec fans.
Oh yeah, just listen to them. And you can hear them as he makes his way around this track. This place is erupting. Listen into turn number 1, a huge grandstand there, big VIP area packed with dignitaries, employees, and friends of J.C. Paillet, whose main operation selling trucks is not too far from here in Trois-Rivieres, Quebec. J.C. Paillet, and now he's got not one but 2 cars in podium territory. Andrew Ranger will step on the top step of the podium, and Marc-Antoine Cameron will stand right beside him. But what a day for the GM Paillet team, and more importantly for Andrew Ranger. A quick donut in turn number 1 as he does the Polish victory lap, heading back to another big grandstand as the fans get cooled off here on a very hot day.
This is going to be an exciting victory lane.
Andrew Ranger has played this game before. He knows how to get it done. Play up to the crowd. But he was fast here last year, and he sat on the front row with the 74 of Kevin Lacroix. Lacroix lost his brakes going into turn number 2 and actually climbed up and over the 27 of Andrew Ranger. He didn't even see it coming, but Ranger wanted redemption, and he gets it today.
Everything came together for the 27 Andrew Ranger. He ran a great race. Crew did a great job. They brought a good car, good sponsors, and he was able to bring it home.
And there you can see Ranger pulling into victory lane, and we'll get set to grab him as he hops out. Todd Lewis will be standing by as a big congratulations from crew members as the NASCAR officials get everything squared away. So the podium celebration happens over the wall towards the infield. It's set up there by design because of the big grandstand here in turn number 1, but we're going to get a chance to chat with Andrew Ranger just as he hops out, which should be in moments. You can see him catching his breath, his face all red from the heat. So the water bottle gets handed through the window to Andrew Ranger. You can see the tongue go out, and that's sort of the first gasp of air that he gets once he takes that helmet off. And as cool as you try to make it inside these cars and comfortable for these drivers, it's hard work.
It's hot. This is a breath of fresh air, and he's got the adrenaline too, so I'm sure he won't mind.
So there he's about to hop out to the delight. Have a listen to this as he struggles to get out a little bit, but have a listen to the crowd as he jumps out. And you can see just how much of a struggle it was for Andrew Ranger to actually put a leg up on the windowsill there to do the victory lane celebration. And now he gets hugs from his crew. You can see his crew chief, one of the first to get in there to get a hug. J.P. Sear, the crew chief on this machine, and he'll get a chat with the French language broadcaster here in his native Quebec, but a man from Roxton Pond, Quebec, will be soaking this one in. A 5-time winner here at this legendary street circuit here at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres. Andrew Ranger picks up his first victory since iCar in 2024. So just last year, visited Victory Lane at Circuit iCar. But now he's back at one of the crown jewel events of the NASCAR Canada Series schedule here in 2025. And there you can see Todd Lewis jumping in and having a quick word. Let's go down to Victory Lane with Todd Lewis. Todd?
And Andrew is getting a very cold drink of water and wearing a little bit of that cold water. What a hot, hard-fought afternoon, but the drive for 5 was successful.
This is amazing for us, man. Finally, here in Trois-Rivieres with the win after many, many years. I just want to thank all of my crew, my guys. You know, they did an amazing job this weekend. My fans, my family, everybody, the sponsor, they are here, and to celebrate that with them, it's amazing.
5 victories here now, the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres. You add your totals of the all-time wins list in the NASCAR Canada Series. Accolades continue to pile out.
Exactly. This is what we want, and we came back in the championship, and it's just fantastic for us. You know, just to win here, it's amazing.
Andrew Ranger, 5 here at GP3R, and yeah, he mentioned that championship. The fight is not over. There's a long way to go this season.
Yeah, it is funny, and it's because Ranger has sort of been lurking in the weeds throughout this 2025 season. He came into this one 4th in points, just 15 back of the leader, DJ Cannington. So he's likely to boost up his ranking because he was only a couple back of Kevin Lacroix. So Andrew Ranger doing what he needs to do to battle back in this championship.
It really is a tight points battle, and it's going to be really exciting headed into these final few races. A lot of good tracks for Andrew Ranger, a lot of good tracks for Marc-Antoine Cameron. We got Delaware that's going to come up at the end of the season here too. So it's going to be exciting for sure.
And Montmagny will cap the season at the end. So we've got iCar coming up next, which is the road course that is built on the tarmac of the old Mirabel Airport. There is J.C. Paillet, and just look at that. J.C. Paillet, a huge supporter of motorsports here in Canada, and importantly supports Quebec motorsports and the Quebec drivers, but just an all-around really nice guy, and you can see the emotion throughout his body as he gave Andrew Ranger just a big hug.
Hey, as a car owner and sponsor, it doesn't get much better of a day than this. You know, coming home 1st and 2nd, 2 clean cars, 2 beautifully executed races, and you know, it's two beautiful looking cars as well. I gotta say the deliveries that they brought out this weekend. So you know, great to see that for the GM.
Absolutely, the Paillet-backed cars last year went with a military design. Of course, Marc-Antoine Cameron and Andrew Ranger going with the camo. One desert camel, the other one forest camel, but this year going to pay tribute to Gilles Villeneuve, of course, was discovered here on the streets of Trois-Rivieres, Quebec, and then went over, tested in a Formula One car. He's actually tested for a McLaren, then Ferrari spotted him and said, we're going to scoop you up and sign you, and that's exactly what started the legend of Gilles Villeneuve. Let's go down and chat with our 2nd place finisher. Todd?
The special cars of Gilles Villeneuve finished 1 and 2. You started 1 and 2. Mark, I know you wanted that 3rd in a row, but what a battle here this afternoon.
Yeah, well, what a win. What a great day for Jean Paillet, 1 and 2. Congrats to the 27 Andrew for a win. I was waiting until the end. Car was really good, but too many caution, and I was waiting, you know, at least with 5 laps to go. Car was really good on their braking, and the second last restart, the 47 just knocked me like big time on the door. So I lost 1 spot there, and I lost like 3 or 4 car lengths on the 27. So I think that that little issue cost us the win. But you know what? 2nd, we took it. We going, you know, we're back now on the top of the championship. So that's a good point.
Second place, number 1 in the championship right now for Marc-Antoine Cameron.
Yeah, you can hear big picture comes to mind for the number 96 team, and no doubt they were talking to him. And that's something that Marc-Antoine Cameron has improved with over the last several years. He's calmed down as a driver. He doesn't need to win every race as long as he starts gaining those important points towards the championship.
Yeah, I mean, he did exactly what he needed to do there. You know, he brought home a clean car, good points in the championship, and that's the goal, is to win that championship.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. It's a hard-fought goal, too. And let's head down to your third-place finisher, who is Todd has managed to wade through the crowd and caught up with LP Dumoulin.
LP and his entire family here to celebrate their third-place finish. Another hard-fought battle here at GP3R. Seems like this gets tougher and tougher every year.
Yeah, it's a hard race for sure. I mean, it's fun to race in front of our fans, and then the whole organization of the GP3R is amazing. They do an incredible work with the volunteers and everybody around here. So, great track, a lot of fun. Big fight with those two guys, the 27 and 96. I didn't have their speed, to be honest. Like, out of the arch there, they really had a good lounge out of there, and very good motor down the back straight. So we're going to have to work on our stuff, but very proud of my team. They did a great job. The 47 WeatherTech, Omnifab, Belmar, some of our car was fast here this weekend. So, of course, we wanted to win. Maybe on the longer green run, we might have had something. I thought I had some problem with the brakes at some point. I think it was just the pedal that was long, so I had to just adjust my bias a bit better. And, you know, we fought up front, proud for the team, and we have 7 races done on 12 in the championship. That was a good point day, so we'll move on for the next one.
Good points day again, another podium for LP Dumoulin.
LP Dumoulin, one of the busiest people in Trois-Rivieres for this weekend. He is pulled in every single direction. He's got commitments with sponsors, with family, with friends. Everybody wants a piece of LP Dumoulin. For him to focus enough to get a podium position is a win in his books.
Yeah, he mentioned before the race, it's a big race for his team, his sponsors. Everyone's here, so, you know, it's still a good finish for LP. And, you know, LP's doing pretty good in the championship standings as well. Even, you know, he had some bad luck at the start of the year, but really been rebounding these last couple races, and these podiums are what he needs.
Yeah, came into this one 5th in points in the championship, so he too looking big picture, and this one is far from being over. Again, it is such a tight battle between each and every of the top 7 realistically in the championship. Ryan Vargas had a little bit of an issue here today, so did Matthew Kingsbury, but that might be their one mulligan they get in the 2025 season. As you can see, the security team surrounding the car in victory lane, but here's how we got there. Andrew Ranger leading on the final few restarts and powering his way in front of the number 96 of Marc-Antoine Cameron. It did get a little messy at times. There was contact with DJ Kennington and the 73 of Donald Teague, and as well the 88 of Simon Charbonneau, headed into the tire wall. And there you can see another one of those restarts where it just got a little physical between the 59 of Gary Clute and the 85 of Daryl Timmers. And what's interesting there is they're friends off the racetrack. They often get together and race go-karts together. So no, more often than not, likely they'll have a couple beers and discuss what happened here today. Vittorio Girelli, his first foray into the NASCAR Canada Series, ended up differently than he would have liked to see. There is the contact that sent the 96 back behind the 47 of LP Dumoulin, and that's what Marc-Antoine Cameron was talking about when he said he had to get around that 47. He just stopped him. He said he was a little bit better than the 47, and it took him a little while to get back around LP Dumoulin. But man, he fought for it. Another caution pulled out by the 87 of Sam Fellows. Another potential for a good run ended early for Fellows, and there you can see another great restart. It's exactly what Andrew Ranger needed to do in the dying moments, but here you can have a look at the top 10. So the strategy play by Kevin Lacroix didn't really work out the way he needed it to.
Yeah, unfortunately, it looked like he got shuffled there on the last restart, and maybe just didn't have the speed that he was looking for. But then again, that's why he rolled the dice and played that sort of strategy. Great comeback for Alex Gannett, finishing 8th. DJ Kennington in 7th spot there. DJ had a top 5 run going for much of the race. Unfortunately, I think he was also caught up in a little bit of the chaos there at the end.
Daryl Timmers, a top 10 finish, 6th place for the driver of the 85, so a career best for Daryl Timmers after coming home in 12th here a year ago, and the rest of the finishers 11th through 17th. JP Bergeron, he had that run-in with the wall, and the nose was stuffed way up in the air, and they managed to come back for an 11th place. That'll be like a win for that team.
Yeah, very good comeback. Got that thing patched up and back out there. Unfortunately, Sam Fellows comes home in the 21st spot, and Alex Tagliani 20th. I was really hoping to see how that was going to pan out with the 80, the 96, and the 27.
Yeah, Gary Clute as well. An issue on the last restart, the last lap. He'll come home in 18th position, as there you see several of the drivers who did not finish here today, Ryan Vargas being one of them. And again, a driver who came into this race 3rd in points was Vargas, so he'll have an uphill battle to climb in his rookie season here in the Critical Path Security number 28. Hugs all around for your 3rd place finisher, LP Dumoulin, here in Victory Lane. The celebrations continue, but a big hats off to your race winner, Andrew Ranger. 2nd place goes to Marc-Antoine Cameron. And that man, LP Dumoulin, coming home in 3rd here today on a beautiful day for a race here at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres. Man, if we could get weekends like this every year in the summer, it would just be a picture-perfect summer. It was all Alex Tagliani at the beginning of this one before things went south underneath the Saint-Hubert number 80. An oil leak really ended his chances early, and there you saw the barbecue that bestowed the 50 of Vittorio Girelli, and a couple cars got into it in turn number 6, but avoiding all the carnage today. Driver, the GM Paillet Chevrolet number 27, Andrew Ranger. So for Trayton Lapsevich and Todd Lewis, I'm Dave Bradley. Thanks very much for joining us here at the Grand Prix de Trois-Rivieres. You're watching the 2025 season of the NASCAR Canada Series here on Rev